Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninjas Battles week number 3. We are back once again, and it feels so good to be representing Ninja's brand here for another week of some fantastic Fortnite action. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Sancho West. It feels good to be working with you. I've been wanting to work with you for quite some time, and what a better stage than to start off the chemistry.
Oh, man, this is exciting. Likewise, to your Reflections, guys. We are live on YouTube and on Twitch all over the world. Thank you so much for tuning in to some awesome Fortnite action. We are going to bring the noise, and we have a list of awesome competitors that are getting prime and ready for Fortnite Chapter, I think it's Season 4 that's coming up with Trio, so it's going to be very, very hype.
Yeah, it absolutely is. This is going to be a good indication as to how competitive might run. A lot of these trios that are coming into the mix are actually full-fledged trio teams that we might see competing in the next trios action. So it's going to be great to watch them play, but it's also going to be a day of Fortnite fun. The competition's going to be there. Don't get me wrong, but it's also going to be a chance to, maybe poke the bear, if you will, because there are some rivalries going into this. Either way, it's going to be a ton of fun, and we're glad that you guys are here. Make sure you hit that follow button for everything Ninja related, and also get some hype going in the chat. I don't care if it's emojis. I don't care if you type hype. I don't care what you have to type. Let's get that energy flowing, and let's give it to these 20 trios that are going to be playing out. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about our teams that are going to be playing it out today, because I think everybody's very interested who is playing, and most importantly, is Ninja playing? Well, no, we will not be having Ninja this week. That's okay, though. He's still going to be supporting, and I think it's for a good reason he's not playing. Either way, though, we have some of the best teams out there, 18 as you can see. But man, Sancho, I passed over to you. Who's looking the most talented?
I mean, this is going to be a stack lobby Reflections. It's hard for me to pick right off the gate. I mean, you have to go, oh my goodness. I mean, the reason why I'm saying it's so difficult, Reflections, is because there's 25 World Cup participants competing today. I mean, and not only we have Booga, of course, everyone out there who knows Fortnite, mom, dad, postman, whatever, grandma knows who Booga is now. You know what I mean? He's the World Cup champion.
That's right.
We have so many different FNCS champions. Arkham from the North American West region solos champion. We got duos champions of Zayt and Saf coming in from NA East, Epic Well and Rex coming from NA West. I'm talking about hype, baby. You want champions of Unknown A coming into the. We have the trio of Young Calc and Macwood from NA East. Those that are competing today here at Battles Week 3. It's hard for me to pick, so I'm going to give it to you. You go ahead and pick, and then I'm going to piggyback up your answer.
Well, you know what? I got to look at Team 14. Bizzle, Dubs, Mega, representing FaZe, going big out there. Bizzle is, I like to call him Mr. Consistent. He, at one point, was the top earner in Fortnite, especially in Chapter 1, Season 1 through 10. For him, being joined by Dubs and Mega is going to be interesting. Dubs and Mega, I would like to say, are hugely aggressive individuals, very mechanically sound, but they love to get in your face. Bizzle is more of a controlled, kind of kick back, see what's taking place, observe it, and then go in on the action. So I'm curious, can he IGL Dubs and Mega effectively, keep them at bay, and make them think through some situations? Either way, Bizzle is the defending title champion from week number 2. A lot has changed since then, Sancho, but the point is he's trying to go back-to-back here.
Yeah, he's going to go back-to-back without his other teammates of EMAT and Commandment. Type 1 in the chat for the EMAT out there, the Watch Party King. If you're having a watch party yourself, shouts to you. We're going to have some good action for here. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think Bizzle could definitely do that. Bizzle has been coming up strong lately, he's seen as a very intelligent player. And speaking of intelligent players, you got to look at the team of Chap and Booga and Avery. I mean, that is a strong squad in itself. I mean, Booga has been known to be we're going to talk about the trio roles and whatnot, but Booga is an IGL, but he's much more comfortable being a fragger. And Chap is going to definitely fill that role as he's one of the best in-game leaders out there. So team number 5 is going to be also dangerous, but I like to think that number 13, the unlucky number 13 of Creo and Kanata. And it's so odd, Reflections, that this team is actually at number 13, because last night on Twitter, boy, oh boy, the things start roasting of this squad. But no doubt, it's a squad, man. They've been together. They have one of the most, tell me the accolades this squad has, Reflections.
I mean, dude, first we'll start off with Bucky, right?
Yeah.
He's known as a fragger, 64th World Cup solos. The fact
Yes.
that he made it to World Cup, he qualified for that, speaks volumes about him. I know in week number 2, Monster Defense was very clear to say, hey, he hasn't been competing a lot. It was good to see him back then. There's been, a couple months since the last Ninja Battle, so clearly he is more well-versed in how the season is working. So it's good to see him competing again, especially alongside that of Creo and Kanata. Kanata is a member that was on the come-up in Chapter 2 Season 1 when he started competing with Tfue. So it's good to see him coming back into the fold of things. Of course, Creo, though, he's going to be the IGL. And we got to talk about it, right? World Cup solos, he plays 4th. And not to mention, too, he does have some accolades as of recently. They did place 7th in week number 2, and that was with Unknown as well as, Kanata just a little bit earlier. So Kanata and Creo, they have that chemistry. So you talk about a power team, lucky number or unlucky number 13. Maybe it's going to be lucky for them this week.
Yeah, one thing before we move to talk about format and whatnot, Dark Horse, and there's a couple of them I'm going to go ahead and cheat that because I can as a caster. But number 7, Reverse 2K, Miro, and Defy, those are going to be a great team. I think they're going to be really solid. Reverse 2K, the free agent out there looking for an organization to be represented. He's been on a tear, especially in solos. And Miro is an up-and-comer in the Fortnite competitive scene. Did very, very well in the FNCS Solo Invitational, and he's been doing very well in FNCS Solos. You're going to have so many of the competitors that this weekend in the FNCS Solos. So it's going to be very awesome to see how they could put it all together in trios. And another one I would like to talk about is, of course, number X set here with AE, aka Controller AV, Shark, and Knight. They're going to be a very strong team as well with the new organization in Team X set.
And AV and Knight, they're 2 of the best controller players in the scene. You also have, of course, Rogue Shark, who's been around for quite some time, qualified for World Cup. So I got to say, for me, I'm really happy to watch them play, representing the set, baby, X set. It's going to be a good time, and I can't wait to see their performance overall. Either way, though, what are these guys playing for? And I think that's the biggest storyline. Everybody's always curious. What is the format, first and foremost, how the role is going to work, and how much money is on the line? Well, you see it there. There is going to be a benefit to placing, right? Especially for first. You walk away with 10 points. 2nd through 5th is going to be 7, and then it goes to 5 and 2 from there. So there's a very real incentive to at least get 2nd through 5th. I think you can cover the 3 points between 7 and 10 with eliminations, because you do get 1 point per elimination. So there is a very real reason to go out there and slay. But Sancho, I think everybody is kind of more interested in the money aspect of things. 80,000 each week. Break that down for me.
I mean, 80,000. The lion's share of that is 25,000 going to first place, 2nd 15,000, 3rd 10,000, 4th 8, 5th and 6th get 5,000, 7th and 8, 3,000, 9 and 10th get 2,000, 11 and 12 get 1,000. So there's going to be about, if the math does me right, about 6 teams that are going to be walking away with zip and nada. But kind of crazy. I mean, all these players that have competed today have collectively won Fortnite earnings to buy like about 5 Bugattis. If so, I mean, it's just going to be a drop in a bucket. No doubt the lion's share of $80,000 is up for grabs.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. So with that being said, I think no matter how many Bugattis you can buy, Sancho, which is very nice, obviously, at the end of the day, you still want to make sure that you're earning that 25K for first place. It's still a lot of money. Even split 3 ways, you're still walking away with a considerable amount. I'm a caster. I can't do math, so I'm not even going to attempt to do it. That's what my producer at UMG is always telling me. Either way, though, that's still a large chunk of... I'm going to have you do the math, by the way, Sancho. I think you'll be much better off with that.
I'm a theater major. Don't make me do that.
Okay, fair enough. Theater major, but that's okay. And maybe I'll test you a little bit later on. But yeah, that's a lot of money. So you can expect that competitiveness coming out. And it is going to be a competitive rule set, right? So you're going to have the moving zone. You're going to have the quick mats that are going to be picked up. And you're going to have a lot of that competitive play that you're used to seeing. So it's going to be slow off the start, maybe mid-game a little bit slower while everybody's trying to gain that positioning. And then, of course, it's going to be chaotic when the moving zone starts, specifically around that half and half area. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how these teams are going to be playing. I'm very curious to see how, the likes of Nick A30 is going to be able to perform, right? I've watched him play time and time again, not only on his stream, but also in the Friday Fortnites that happened way back in the day, which, by the way, shout out to Ninja for that. Ninja was one of the most dominant players in Friday Fortnite, and he loved that event. So it's great the fact that he's coming in and creating his own event, giving back to the community, giving back to the players.
Yeah, and a lot of people, looking at the roster, looking at the teams represented here, it is going to be a very stacked lobby. And for those of you that have never watched competitive Fortnite at a high level is essentially you're going to have so many teams alive going into the final set. And so you're not going to see a lot of early action unless you're going to see some of these players competing some of these mythical weapons, which we'll get into once the gameplay starts. But I'm going to expect some fireworks between these teams. There's so much egos. We're going to see if they're going to contest each other in the early game action. So it's very, very exciting Reflections, and we're about to get started. And we're going to take I think we need a break though, right? I think we need a break before we get going.
Break to collect the thoughts. All right, no worries. We'll take a quick little break. Of course, the action is going to get started afterwards. Game 1 will be coming your way shortly, so please don't go anywhere. Tweet it out. Let people know this trio's action for 80K is about to go down. Spread the love, as we always love doing that. Either way, shout out to Ninja for putting on this event. Like I said, we're going to a quick little break. When we come back, Game 1 coming your way. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninja Battles week number 3. Game 1 is about to be underway, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined once again by Sancho S. We'll be calling the action all day for you out there. It's going to be a ton of fun, Sancho. We talked about the teams. We talked about a little bit about, what's changed, but we still have a lot more to cover. But Sancho, what are the biggest things that stand out to you coming into week 3 as opposed to week 2?
Yeah, no doubt. I think the biggest thing is going to be the change in the mythical items. We saw previously in Ninja Battles Week 2, you had Brutus's minigun involved. That was a big factor in that Ninja Battle. But considering now you have the caddy corner, which is going to be the home for the shockwave launcher, and you're also going to have the caddy's mystical shotgun, the charged shotgun, which does so much damage. So those are going to be highly contested areas, I'm predicting, and right at the outset. And also you're going to have Jules Grappler at the Authority be something that's going to be a factor. Not so much the drum gun, the mythical drum gun this time around. It's not as strong as Midas's drum gun.
Thank goodness.
From the week 2 of Ninja Battle. So you're not going to see a lot of players utilizing that much. But I would say that will be the major change. And there have been a lot of meta changes, which we'll get into when the broadcast goes in. But that's what's exciting about Fortnite. There's always things changing. There's always POIs popping up. I mean, Coral Castle. It'd be interesting to see if anyone wants to explore that area. And I think the main storyline is going to see is who is going to be ultra aggressive in the opening battles for their POIs, because it's very important for a squad or a trio to condition that POI so no one could kind of alpha it and make sure no one could ruin their run. So it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna go all in on that.
That's the thing, right? Will people prioritize engagements at the beginning? I don't think they will, nor do I think they should, right? It's not going to be a full lobby. There's going to be around, 60 or so players are going to be dropping down. So plenty of POIs that these guys can go to without having to ego challenge and, getting to an engagement themselves. So either way, we'll see if that does come into play. I'm sure, though, like you mentioned, Caddy is going to see a lot of activity. Authority might see some as well. And who knows, Coral, who's going to be heading over there? A lot has changed, and we're going to be featuring all that. Game is about to get started. I cannot wait. I'm curious to see where everybody's going to be going, because Sancho, you were appearing on Twitter and kind of seeing where is everybody going to go, who's talking trash, and you do have a couple of landing spots, or at least theoretically they could be doing a bait and switch. This is where I'm going, but they actually go somewhere else. But what are some hot places that you might have noticed some teams will be going to?
I'm not going to say the teams, but I would say Caddy Corner is going to be very heavily contested. Yacht, I feel like I'm like a weatherman or something. We expect a lot of turmoil at the Yacht. Of course, the Authority Dead Center will be a major one. Rickety Rig is going to be something you're going to see a lot of fireworks, but I'm expecting surprisingly a lot of fireworks at Yacht. So we'll see. I mean, Twitter, Fortnite Comp loves to kind of put their stake in the flag and let people know where I'm going to land. So it's very interesting to see if they stay true to their word, but no doubt I'm expecting some early fireworks. And I'm hoping for some zaniness, something different from the get-go here at the Ninja Battles today.
I think, if there's any chance to kind of, throw some weird strategies out there, this is the time to do it. I know there's money on the line, right? But I mean, this isn't the official trios competition that's going to be taking place. So if there's any time to throw it out there for an advanced scrim, if you will, this is the time to do it. So we might see that zaniness that you were talking about, and I hope we do. Either way, it's going to be a lot of craziness. And Chad, I'm very curious who your favorite team is out there. Who are you guys supporting the most? Let us know using the hashtag Ninja Battles on Twitter. Make sure you get that going, and even tweet it myself, whether it be at Reflections or at Sancho S or even at Ninja. Let him know what do you think about the broadcast, and who do you think is going to take it. 5 games, and the first one is about to be underway. Yes, sir, and the battle bus has gone. And look at all those triangles. They're all finding where their area is going to be. You love to see it. Saw a couple llamas out there, and looks like we might have a little bit of a Slurpee action off the rip.
Yeah, no doubt. Right out the gate, Riverson, Nosh, Zyphar going to go to Slurpee. It's going to be a very interesting bus going out here, considering you're going to be flying right over caddy corners. Of course, Mega and Dubs were going over to the rig in the second week of Ninja Battles, and they had a bad time going up against Riverson's team. Now we're on board here, Reverse 2K. The free agent looking for an organization to join, flanked by Miro and Day. Miro and Day, like I said, are very strong, interesting teammates to have right out the gate. And we have Team X at here, Reflections. Looks like they're going to go down into the Slurpee factory as well, down to the swamps.
Yeah. So one of the things that was made popular, especially during squads, or I guess I should say all the way back to Chapter 2 Season 1, was landing on the outside of Slurpee, right? And of course, this new island is going to be phenomenal for gathering loot, but it's hugely beneficial because when you rotate into Slurpee, right, you can get full shields. Looks like there's going to be a lot of contention points there, so I'm curious how that's going to work out. We also have two teams that are going to be around the same building here, so things could get interesting quickly. And this is a man I wanted to check out, Nick A30. How is he going to fare against these stacked trio teams?
It's going to be very interesting. Nick A30, the Lebanese Canadian here representing his squad with edgy and replays. And Nick A30, you know, trying to figure out if he likes the charged shotgun now. Once it was just introduced, a lot of people are wondering how the charged shotgun could fit into the new meta. And right now he has a common tack, so he's going to have to do some damage here and hit his shots. Not a lot of great loadout to take it, so it looks like they kind of like gesture a little bit to see what's up, and Nick A30 and the team are going to disengage, knowing that maybe it's not the right time to take this fight against Illis and Slacks and his crew.
Yeah, you know, I think if you were going to take an early fight, I wouldn't want to be against that trio, right? Especially everybody, you guys know competitive out there. If you don't, fighting early on isn't necessarily the thing to do, right? Because it limits your chances of making it to end game. And obviously end game is where you're going to gather the majority of your points, 10 points for that victory royale. So you definitely want to make sure that you're playing a little bit slower, more cautiously at the start, but we will check in with Nick A30 and crew a little bit later. XSET boys here, though, going to be with one of the leading teams that I think is going to do very well here. That's going to be Mega Dubs as well as Bizzle. This is a team that if I'm the XSET boys, there's two sides to a coin. Number one, if you do get in this early engagement, if you take down Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs, that is a huge notch on your belt. But then again, though, if you lose to them, are you going to switch up your drop going into the next game? Because we know egos will flare, Sancho, especially with these trios playing today.
Yeah, no doubt Dubs and Mega are one of those ones that like to be aggressive, but I think Bizzle could kind of rein them in. They're right here in one of the new POIs here for the season. It's Fortilla, and Dubs is trying to take some shots in. You hear the shots ringing out. You hear the hunting rifles ringing out. They're trying to get some hits. Right here in Fortilla, you're going to find a lot of henchmen as well. You got to be careful around. You're going to find the Ocean's Bottomless Jug. So that's going to be an item to see who's going to pick that up. And, of course, Ocean's Burst Rifle. It's a mythical weapon. As you see, Bizzle does have it, and the Bottomless Chug. So Bizzle was able to get away from this fight, and you're going to see him, no doubt, disengage as XSET and FaZe are right now looking at each other toe-to-toe, seeing if it's worthy to take a couple of pot shots, maybe a little storm tag action and see if it's going to get that green light. And we're going right back to Lazy Lake. It's another POI being split by Illis crew and Nick A30.
Yeah, but it looks like nobody's fallen as of yet, though. We do see Edgy hopping up. They're getting froggy and leaping. Ellis is just going to be trying to pepper those walls, put the pressure on. Replays and Nick A30 doing a great job, though. We see the crash pad coming in to break through. Edgy does fall, and Nick A30 looking to go for the finish potentially. But one of the biggest things, though, you head over here and you don't have the opportunity to get a lot of mats. And unfortunately, Nick A30, he's going to dip out. He's the last one up. The rest of his teammates, they dropped. And Nick A30 is getting peppered. Does he already fall? This is going to be devastating, but it looks like he gets away just with 12 health.
Wow. Keys, Slacks, and Illis were able to bully Nick A30's team outside of Lazy Lakes. Nick A30 had to disengage with the launch pad. So that was a very cool play. The crash pad was used. The crash pad is another item new to this week of Ninja Battles Week 3. And no doubt Keys, Slacks, and Illis knows that Nick A30 is all by himself. And now Nick A30 is on the run. You better run, boy, because if not, Keys is just coming.
Okay, hold up a second. Getting some nice tags, but it's going to be difficult. Now he's in a 1v3, and it's going to be tough to take out these boys. We know Nick A30 is going to do everything he can. Good builds, but does get a nice tag overall. But Nick A30 does fall, and we're going to see an early exit. One of our first teams to be eliminated, and Lazy Lake seems to be very deadly, not only because of that fight, but also Emat is going to be moving through with his company.
Oh, the classic third party happening here. Scented, Commandment, and Emat heard the fireworks going, and maybe Slacks, Illis, and his crew overcommitted to chase Nick A30. So now we've got another gesturing opportunity to see if it's worth taking this fight. Looks like Illis and Keys and Slacks are disengaging, but they may have to take some tags here and retreat back to Lazy Lake to find some more items and farm a little bit as Commandment incented. It kind of feels funny as like people like, hey, what are you doing over there? You just like, you know what I mean?
Get off our turf, man. This is our island. It's only big enough for one team. Oh, my goodness. Oh, another engagement, though, has taken place. We've been following this since the very beginning. It was the Xset Boys versus Dubs, Mega, and Bizzle. Looks like maybe there is some trouble. We're going to be looking at AV pushing up, trying to gain some vantage points on, of course, the people just up ahead, but out of match, right? He only has one build to his name, so he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and I hope he can make it out of this, or else Dubs, Bizzle, and Mega, they're going to start off strong.
Yeah, no doubt. Xset, it's on the back foot right now, using a lot of valuable resources that they earned here in Fortilla, such as the metal, and Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs are just swarming like sharks right now, which is a new addition I hope to get to see. But I'm hearing the pistol shout, so I got to give a shout out to Destiny Jesus out there, who's talking about the valuable of the pistol shots, and we're here to see the keep up the pressure right now as Bizzle does get beamed a little bit. He's going to have to disengage as AV was able to take that high ground and survive a little bit of this pressure. Let's see how this storm fight works out here, Reflections.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, battling in a storm is not what you want, especially now that you're in a 2v3. Mega, Dubs, Bizzle did a great job kind of holding off. Bizzle, no worries in the world. He's got the bottomless chug. He's going to go ahead and use that. One of the rare opportunities that it is useful. Bottomless chug isn't that good, especially in late game. We've seen it used in solos, but I think in trios, it's going to be a little bit too much taking place. But either way, though, this battle continues to ensue. But this is not the fight. I think both teams, they didn't want this, right? They didn't want to be fighting in storm this early on. They didn't want to be losing teammates. Now they're already using their med kits. They burned through minis and half pots. I think right now both teams are not feeling as comfortable, but it is what it is. You got to establish dominance game one.
And that establishing dominance is a key factor. We're going to see a lot of these early fights. We already saw one at Lazy Lake. Here it is at Fortilla. They're trying to condition the rest of the way. Again, these are 5 games that are very, very crucial. We saw in the first week of the second week of Ninja Battles go to that final frame of game 5. And that was so crucial because we had 2 teams tied for first place going into it, and then we had it all come down to the final moments there. So it's very important that you have a consistent point input here the rest of the way, as we're seeing another item introduced, which is the peppers, which will give you a little health and a minute or so of excellent speed. And now I'm board with Bucky, Kanata, Creo, and crew, and we see another look at Calc, young Calc here as well from what is it?
Built by Gamers,
Better Gamers.
Built by Gamers, yeah.
Nice.
Good organization.
Built by Gamers. Yes, good organization. So many organizations represented, of course. NRG Clicks and NRG Unknown. Who knows if they get together again, as we do see Clicks up here building on height. This is a very interesting area here, Reflections. These are a nice area to hold onto on these top of these mountains. You could kind of look around and get a little nice little storm tags, and that's what you're seeing right here, just right outside the orchard, right next to this blue bridge. So I'm not seeing a full-fledged commitment right now into this fight. I don't expect them to do, but they're just trying to gauge to see what's going on. I told you, how is Unknown and Clicks always find each other? How?
You know what? You talked about the Magnet. I know we were talking about this before we went live, and it's like, they always have an opportunity to find each other, and maybe it's a little bit personal.
I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. How? I mean, it's kind of wild to me that they're able to go all together. And I'm not sure. Unknown, again, one of those teams that it was kind of a late fill.
Sure.
I doubt that's Benji Fishy. Who knows? I mean, I have to double check with our leaderboards, but it's going to be so interesting
Unknown,
to
Benji
see.
Fish, CRR that's going to be playing together. Let's talk about Unknown for a little bit, because without question, he was a dominant player, and I think he still is, right? You have to give him the respect when respect is due. He's incredibly aggressive, though, and I think that's the biggest talking point is we talk about 1 point per elimination, but we also talk about the points that you get for, the victory royale, for getting into the, the final placings. As we'll actually hold off a little bit on that as a major battle is taking place, and this is going to be a team that I was curious to watch play. This is going to be Cease, Paper, and Jamper, and it's going to be Unknown into the box doing what Unknown does. We know he's always doing those box fights, always doing the wagers. He is having a little bit of fun, and it looks like that was an easy cleanup. That's what we expect from Unknown and Cole, right? They're going to get into an engagement, and they're either going to lose fast or they're going to win fast.
Yeah, Unknown is just known for that. I mean, no doubt he's someone that's going to always look for the end the fight quickly, and I'm just if I don't know, the names always trip me out when it comes to Fortnite competitive. How they always change names and find things, but it's going to be so interesting to see how this crew continue throughout the rest of the Ninja battles, considering that they have already run into 100 Thieves Cease's crew and they already run to Clix's crew. So already we're seeing some of these teams converging each other on these rotations, and this is a very nice dominant position here right outside of Frenzy. You get a nice peek overlay of everything. You kind of get a lay of the land. It's kind of a bit different when it comes to trios here as we're going into the second to third zone. You want to kind of get to center as much as possible. As we see, another addition to the Ninja battles is the Marauders, and it's going to be very interesting to see what do the Marauders do. For those of you who don't know, they are very dangerous AI. Well, they kind of they're not as bad as they used to be, but what the players are, these competitive players are going to be looking forward to as reflections is that they're going to be able to get some power weapons from them, some shields, from some chug splashes as well. But a big item that they're going to actually hold on to, you can't get anywhere else, is stink bombs. And stink bombs are so important to have in trios. As you see here, that Mega Bizzle and Dubs hear a motorboat out in the distance, and that's Team Exit. So the Fortilla battle continues as they're making this rotation through Authority.
And you knew that was going to happen, right? You land at the same location. Things are going to go down. Now, obviously, the rotations are going to follow suit. So it makes perfect sense that is going down. Unfortunately, we see Jamper falling. Jamper and Paper have been a duo for quite some time. They've had some good success. Jamper playing for Luminosity. Paper being a great mechanical player himself. He's been known to play on keyboard and mouse every once in a while when he's just having fun. But one of the things to note about him is he did qualify for FNCS heats for solo. So we'll be seeing a little bit more of him there, and obviously that solo play is going to be very important in trios play, especially if you lose your teammates, which is exactly what we just seen a little bit earlier. But you know, this is the crew that I'm very curious about. We've been watching them since the Fortilla fight. AV, Knight, and Rogue Shark. They're going to go ahead and rotate in now as we head over towards Risky, and Commandant's going to be up top of the projector, ready to rain hell, and Scented is going to be behind as well. So the XSET boys cannot catch a break, Sancho.
No, they can't catch a break at all. I mean, they were able to reboot, I believe it was Knight, right back into the fight. So that's going to be good, at least that they're all together. And seeing the zone right now, it's going to be a centered zone right between Frenzy and Risky Real. So remembering where Clix's crew was on top of that mountain, they're going to have a very dominant position. There is another team on top of that Frenzy White House. They're going to have a great position to go for height, considering about third or fourth zone is that's where you want to be. So it's going to be very interesting to see if zone pulls towards that, as we do see that the mountain is barely in as well. So as you can see, a lot of the teams are jockeying for position center, considering that they do not want to, in trios reflections, you do not want to have crazy rotations in fourth and fifth. You want to kind of minimize those rotations so you can have as much materials, and you could save your mobility for like crash pads, launch pads, going into those rotating zones. So that's why you're seeing these players kind of set up on center versus like solos where you see a lot of people on edge.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it. You're dealing with two more players as opposed to solos. I mean, it's trios. There's 3 for a reason. I could do that type of math, but it is a little bit more riskier, especially rotating in. So you have to be a lot more cautious. Getting center zone is where you want to be, and especially when that moving zone starts to happen, you want to be, you know, at the shortest rotation side of it. So we'll see how those teams are going to react to it. Obviously, there are a lot of players, and they're going to be compacted in this small area. Looking at least 46 of them. Arkham up ahead from 100T is going to be raining down some shots, trying to get some tags if he can. I don't think Storm Surge is going to, you know, kind of matter as much here. I believe there's going to be enough players that are going to fall off. We might see it maybe peek its head once or twice, but for the most part, I think, you know, Storm Surge is going to be at bay, but you still want to get those tags, because every tag that you get, you know that you're using, or your opponents are going to be using, you know, their minis, they're going to be using their bandages, med kits, any type of, you know, flop or slurpfish, right? So getting tags is hugely beneficial.
Yeah, no doubt. And here is the crew that I was going to say is going to be very dangerous. Zate, Saf, and Stretch, because they land in caddy corners, and they have the mythical charge shotgun, and they have caddy's shockwave launcher. So look for them to play for height and be very aggressive very, very soon. So no doubt, they've been playing together for a long time. 26 in trios for Stretch. And Stretch has, you know, been on a tear as well. First in DreamHack in the NA East. So that's someone that's a very strong crew. And considering that, I don't know, they're uncontested on caddy corners, but if they are, they're always going to be in the running for a top placement.
saw on the screen just a little bit there, Cloud, Fernando, and ICV. You know, they've been competing as a trio for, I would say, a little bit now, probably about a month or so. They haven't had much success. I think their highest placement was like 60 or 70 in one of the Cash Cups that ended up taking place. I know Cash Cups are a different beast of their own, but I'm very curious to see how they're going to play as a trio against the rest of these boys here. You know, when we look at Cloud, he's on TSM, he's very good. Fernando, he's always played with ICV. They've got the duo, they've got the chemistry, and then of course ICV himself, he's been playing trios with this specific squad for quite some time. I like this rotation though. You know, sometimes using as little mats as possible is the way to go about it, especially when you start getting closer and closer towards half and half, the moving zone. And sometimes, honestly, you don't need to use anything. Just use the natural hillside if you can. And right there, that was a free rotate.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find that these trios are not going to have a lot of opportunities to farm, you know, so you're going to have to conserve as much as possible, and you're going to have to look for impact frags, a way to refresh your, you know, your materials and things of that sort, refresh shields or heals and whatnot, but they're going to be fine. We're going to see those guys later because they have the tools to succeed. Now back on board with Mega, Dubs, and Bizzle, and they have a solid spot here as well, as you see.
Sure.
About to enter the 5th zone here, going to go for the first half in and half out, which means the Storm's a little bit in and a little bit outside. So let's see what's going down right now. As a big battle is happening and RPGs are going out, and Team Exit gets obliterated by Tom by 72 hours, and EMAT is sent it, and they're full saying, oh my goodness, you got to be careful though, putting those ramps, this commandment gets hit right in the grill. But they were full sending it with those rockets here on the ultimate low ground, as we are in some crazy battles that are happening right now, Reflections, in this congested side of the circle.
I think we've always been there. You know, it's like you're building up, everything is cool, and then everything is not cool. You got the RPGs coming in, they're spamming your walls, and you're in a lot of trouble. Thank goodness, though, the minigun isn't there, because that was so frustrating. And even the drum gun back when it was incredibly OP. But everything is cool. Like in the house that Commandant's got. He's chilling. He has enough for a sofa, for a TV. Just kind of lounge up, if you will. And they've got good positioning. Either way, though, we see that Storm is going to be collapsing down in just about 8 seconds. We'll get that half and half. And then the true story is going to unfold, Sancho. We're going to see who's going to have to rotate over. Is EMAT going to be comfortable in the positioning that he has? And, well, I don't think anybody's really comfortable with that. Everybody's got to rotate over. EMAT's actually sitting pretty where he's at.
Yeah, everybody here on the congested side are going to have to make a decision whether to use their pads and mobility. No doubt EMAT squad is looking for a pad opportunity right now. They may have a free rotate on the ground. A lot of these players are choosing to fight on the ground simply because fighting for height is not the great idea to do right now, and considering that they do not have the items to contest for height at this moment is not a good idea, as Team Exit goes down from 72 hours. Comp Tom is in full effect right now, and we're seeing that Dubs and Mega are doing their best to avoid the focus of the lobby, as the 100 Thieves boys are making the rotation. So you're seeing everybody shooting just to like get people turtled up so they could have a free rotate. You're hearing the crash pads, and there's the mobility going after. But with the size of this lobby, Reflections, I'm assuming that you're not going to see a lot of launch pads used right now. As Kanata uses a crash pad as Macwood almost gets those hits, but these were Clix's crew that were sitting on top of the mountain. They moved a little bit more down, so now they have a nice opportunity because they have all those mats saved, because all the rest of the lobby, Reflections, use all those mats in that congestion and this rotate.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's talk about the mats for a second, because, you know, those low ground warriors are going to have to get through all those mats, and that's going to be difficult, especially when that Storm starts hitting very hard, which it will shortly. Liking this, though, from Dubs, Mega, and Bizzle. We saw Bizzle drop a little bit earlier. Dubs was able to get him back up. They continue to fight it out. I don't think they have any floppers, so they're not going to have the luxury of getting quick hills in. They've got med kits, but we know med kits take a long time. That bottomless chug for Bizzle, I highly doubt he's going to have an opportunity to use that, but you know, hey, he might surprise us. We might see. 72 hours, though. No, say it ain't so. My favorite streamer, he drops Cloud the Great, picks him up. We're down to just 38.
Down to 38, and the 6th full rotation is happening right here. Right now, you have the 100 Thieves with NRG sitting up there on Pop, and Rex and Epic Whale. Let's see if they have the ability to hold, and no, the RPG knocks them down, but they're still trying to contest for height, and the RPG is hurting their height stamina, as Arkin gets a nice hit on Young Cal to try to help him out. Now it's a standoff between Clix and Ark, and Clix throws a crash pad. I don't know where that was going, but I think Clix is either trying to set up this rotation situation, but no doubt Arkham right now, they're going to have a big issues trying to hold on to height, considering that Zat and Safe have that grenade launcher in play, and Clicks get some nice hits, and the battle for height continues. Reflections.
A lot of mats being used here. This is going to be big, though, if Clicks can get up top here, which he does. This is massive. He takes over the high ground, doesn't lose much health. His rest of his trio is here. Clicks and Co just set themselves up for success.
They have, but they're being contested right now by Bucky and his crew. Clicks and Macwood on their old builds. As you see, the rest of the lobby having to work through this evolution, and that's very dangerous to do. So all those people on the low ground who expended so many laps have a lot of work to do as we're back on height here. Macwood trying to do their best, realizing that they may have to give up height, and they do drop down. So it's very dangerous to be in a situation, Reflections, because if you are second from height, you're going to be focused heavily, and we all know who could be up there at height, and that could be Safe and crew. But Macwood having a nice little layer right here, going to go ahead and extend out to get in front of the storm. As we're taking a look at all the action unfolding, we see Mega and crew down to second. We have Stretch actually at height right now, and Bizzle and Mega rotating in. Miro goes down in the back, reverse, and his crew is in trouble as they're on the backside. Salt and his crew is in trouble because they're on the backside. And we have actually Unknown. Unknown is right now cranking for height and still in this battle.
Unknown is going to be deadly, especially right now late game. We know how he can slay out, and he's going to continue to do so. This is where a lot of the teams are going to start heating up, getting those 1 points per elimination count, just topping off his teammates with those chug splashes. You love to see it. Fernando also on the inside. Curious to see how he's going to make it out of this. We are down to just a few players now. 25 remain. They're going to fall off very soon, and that zone is moving in quick. Bucky up top is going to be just spamming down low. Calc is also down there along with Macwood. It's going to be Arkham, Clicks, Epic. Well, they're going to fall. Macwood also falls too. Those are some favorites to make it towards the end, but Unknown continues to pop off. That's Clicks down, and Unknown picks up 3.
Fernando and Cloud right now in this crew, and they get hit with the RPG. Cloud does have the grappler, so he could farm for placement right here, because every placement has matters. Right now they have 3 E limbs, so that's 3 points to their name. So it's very important to hold on to that grappler as much as possible. No doubt he got the call from his team to farm his placement. Now on board with Bucky, Creo, and Kanata, the team that were roasting each other yesterday. Now they're working together as a unit, contesting for realizing that Innocent's in trouble, and they get bombed out by the shockwave, and Bucky doesn't have any heal or any way to get back into the fight. He's gonna have to walk in. He's gonna try to find an impact frag. Down he goes. But Kanata's still up, and Day is actually still alive. Now on board here with Scope, and Scope has all the recipes for success as they were able to take away the shockwave grenade launcher from Sad and Safe's crew.
Things are getting interesting. 7 players remain. Reverse 2K, the man that you pointed out, trying to find a solid org. He's still in the mix. You got Pure also fighting Young Calc too. Scoped up top. He's able to pick anybody he wants. That's Calc getting some damage on him. Also, too, to mention, he has over 400 mats. Calc will fall, and that is going to be a big loss. Nosh is able to pick him up. Now, good angle from up top. Scope picks up yet another. Reverse is going to pick up Zippa as well as Nosh. We're up in the air. Scope is coming down. He's got high ground once again. Riverson also falls. We're now down to just 3 players. Reverse forced to go out in the open. The storm is ticking, but Reverse won't take it with his teammates as Riverson does fall, and game 1 is all over.
All of a sudden, things just broke down, and at the top of the mountain for Victory Royale is Reverse, Day, and Miro. But what a big key factor that all of a sudden Scope lost the opportunity. He had that dominant position. He had everything going his way, especially with the shockwave launcher, and it just didn't work out because Riverson made an unbelievable play by sneaking up and bopping him with the charged shotgun. So great work right there, and what an unbelievable game 1 here in Ninja Battles Week 3.
And let's point this out, by the way, Reverse 2K was in the storm. I highly believe, or I highly doubt rather, he was going to make it back into the safe zone. He was in trouble. So theoretically, right, if Pure Day falls in there, Riverson may take that entire thing for his team. So Reverse 2K absolutely got bailed out by Pure Day, who was able to come through and go big. Let's not forget, there was a lot of roster changes taking place just before this tournament. Reverse 2K was one of those teams that had some roster changes. So for the fact that they take over that victory has to feel good. But of course, we talk about Reverse getting that 10 points for the victory royale as the stats get tallied, let's also talk about Unknown. Unknown played incredibly well. He popped off. He picked up a ton of eliminations along with the rest of his teammates. So those are going to be a large chunk of points going his way too. But, Sancho, I have to ask you, though, because there's been a lot of talk about Unknown. He starts off hot and heavy, but then he slows down as the games progress. Do you think we'll see more of that narrative today?
If that's actually Benji Fishy and production said that might be exactly, if it's Benji, then
it is. It is.
If it is, he's going to be able to kind of help Unknown navigate these waters. But the big thing story would be Reverse 2K's consistent performance, and he's been on a tear in solos. And actually here at the Ninja Battles, he was able to win game 1 of week 2 with other teammates, as you mentioned, Grazga and Daxar. So that was very big. As we're going to take a look at some of the replays here, Slacks, Illis, and Keys were able to get Nick A30 crew out of Lazy Lake. It would be interesting to see if that battle continues on. And as you saw there, Nick A30 tried to get away, and this what's now Unknown.
Sure.
We mentioned him a minute ago. He's so aggressive, and sometimes it's just a detriment. But the past weekend in qualifier finals, he had 70 eliminations in a game that he finished 70th. So that guy could get hot. He's like a microwave. So he is essentially becoming the most aggressive player in any region. As we see, this was very crucial right here for the rest of the match, considering everyone's fighting that low ground there. A lot of mats were expensed. The investment into those low ground fights were enabled so much to happen. As we see the rest of these highlights is happening as Calc is taken out. But I'm surprised how Reverse 2K and Day were able to survive by themselves as Mira went down, as Reverse 2K with some big boy plays down below, as you see right there. Some big time finds and getting the siphon right there and the chug splashes. They were able to fight outside the storm, and Day continues to do so well. And what an interesting and awesome pickup for Reverse 2K, considering that they just formed in terms of Ninja Battles today. They confirm, I know they've been playing in Cash Cups and things like that, but to put it all together here on the big stage here at Ninja Battles, it's awesome to see.
And to put it in perspective, once again, both of those teammates were out. Riverson was by himself in zone. If he had mats, he would have been able to build up, and I strongly believe outweigh the time of those two teammates getting back in with Reverse and Pure Day. So lucky break for at least for Reverse 2K and Co. Tough break for Riverson, but still second place. That's some 7 plus a couple of eliminations before that. Game 2, though, is going to be coming up shortly. We're going to tally up the scores for you, but before we give out the stats, we're going to go to a quick little break. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninja Battles week number 3. Game 1 is out of the way, and what a game it was. We saw a lot of storytelling unfold, including a lot of initial battles that were pretty crazy, right? Fortilla, we saw Lazy, of course, getting some action, and I'm curious to see, will those teams kind of rotate off of those locations, or will they ego their way through and take those battles? Either way, I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Sancho West. We'll be calling the action for the rest of the games. We still have 4 more to go, but Sancho, game 1 did not disappoint.
Yeah, it did not disappoint at all. I mean, every time we talk about the what's happening in Fortnite comp these days, a lot of people were saying that the Shockwave launcher would be the most dominating thing, but we saw that it wasn't a factor at the end of the day. All it takes is some skill and some teamwork, and you get the job done. As we're taking a look at the leaderboards, Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day coming on top with 16 points. Riverson, Zypha, Nosh with 16 as well. Unknown Army and Benji Fishy, that's right, the Benji Fishy and CRR are joined Unknown and catapulted this man up to 3rd place with 14 points. Scoped Assaulted Innocence with 13 points. Bizzle, Dubs, Mega 11. Man, such good gameplay here, Reflection. Such good gameplay.
Oh, yeah, fantastic gameplay, and, 60 points. That's a solid first game.
Yes.
Of course, we have to give the respect to everybody else. Really sad the XSET boys didn't do as well as I thought. Obviously, 0 points. They're going to be tied up there with Naked 30, Booga, and Cease. I'm sure we'll see more of them. Still plenty of games for them to work their way up, but XSET did not have it easy, okay? AV, Shark, and Knight, they were consistently going against Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega off the start, and, that's a tough roster to go against, especially if you are just trying to fight, trying to just establish your loot right off your landing spot. So I'm very curious, does XSET kind of concede that location, give it to Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega? Honestly, if I were them, I would. It just didn't seem worth it. They were fighting in Storm. Who was it? Knight ended up dropping off. Yes, they get away, but they were never happy. They were never secure, and they never felt comfortable.
It was a pretty tough rotation for them to get all the way over to Risky Reels. They didn't really have a chance to refresh, and considering that area was very congested, that was the congested area, and Dead Side was on the north side of that circle. So when they went up to that area, it was pretty much bad news bears, because essentially everybody was converging on them, and they had to use all the rest of the resources. But the interesting thing to see that the 100 Thieves of Arkham and that squad as well, they were contesting for height very early, but it looks like they weren't able to capitalize. I think no doubt that big battle that they had with Clicks and his crew at height was a very detriment to their success. But it's going to be interesting to see who makes the adjustments, and how do Zayt and Saf and Stretch make those adjustments as well going into the rest of the tournament. I think they're going to be fine, considering they have Caddy's Corner, I feel like, uncontested. I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe take another rotation going right down into Lazy Lake. Now that they could do some research and kind of figure out who is there, that I think you're going to see some pushes down to that side of the map.
Well, hey, a lot going on. I can't wait to see how the story continues to unfold. If you guys are just joining us, we're now hopping into game 2 here for Ninja Battles. Week number 3, we have 18 solid trio teams facing off against each other for a prize pool of $80,000. First place takes away $25,000. This is all conducted, of course, by a great production team and Ninja himself, as we are on his official channel. So give him some love. Hit that follow button or that subscribe button, whichever one that you're watching on, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. We love to see you guys out there supporting, and it's good to see that you guys are out of emote only mode. You guys can actually type once again. So hey, let's race from iron to gold, baby. Let's get up there and let's start getting that champions. All right, let's have the positive vibes going. I think it's going to be a good time, and I know you guys don't like it when I talk directly to you, so I'm going to stop and talk to Sancho now. Either way, we got some good vibes going on. Game 2 is about to be underway, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds as we now see the battle bus is going, and it's much the same, a little bit of a different direction than first, but either way, it's going to be hugging that bottom right corner of things. But I think the story is going to be much the same here. We talked about it. Is anybody going to go over towards Coral? We actually haven't seen anybody go Coral as of yet.
No, it's it's a new POI that people are willing to explore, but it'd be interesting to see. There is a lot of brick there. You could get some metal from that crash plane as well, aka the old school Fry Islands. But here on board here with Verse, we saw a little bit, and CRR and Benji Unknown looks like they're doing a spread landing, which you see in trios as well, where you can kind of spread out a little bit, and you kind of got to be careful though, because you could be someone could kind of cut you off and you could be isolated and taken out, as we do see Scope, Innocence, and Assault making their way. And this is what I'm talking about. Zayt, Stretch, and Saf. And I'm wondering, did Stretch go down to an AI? I think that may have been the case.
You know what? I think
it happens.
He did.
Oh no! Oh no!
No!
Kit's on fire! Oh my goodness!
Is Kit, ladies and gentlemen, going to take out Stretch and Zate? Can Saf be the hero? The only benefit right now to Kit is the fact that he doesn't fully eliminate, but
sign him.
Sign him. Sign him. I don't care what org he gets on, sign him. Saf is like, I'm not taking any more chances, man. I'm going in disguise. I'm going incognito. I got to get my boys back up. That is not how you want to start. Luckily, they're not getting contested by or a third party, because this could have been devastating.
Oh my. Yo, hey man, it happens. I've seen some nasty clips from Kit. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the Instagrams and all the TikToks from. Hey, he could be one of those people that Kit is out there getting names and adding Stretch and Zate to the fray. That's kind of intense and crazy, but it happens, man. It shows you, for those people that get down by henchmen, it happens to the best of us.
You know, and that's the thing, man. It shows that they're human. Okay, even the best in the world get taken down by AIs. All right, so that's the reality of it. It can happen to anyone. So if you get taken down by Kit, no worries. But don't let it happen a second time. Once is enough, okay? So that got a little bit scary. Like I said, luckily they weren't getting third-partied. We're going to be looking at XSET Boys Night AV and co. And yeah, of course, you got to be throwing FaZe in the mix. Looks like it's going to be round number 2, and Bizzle is ready to laser shark up ahead, and he's going to get a couple tags.
This is the confidence that you build, having a successful kind of offensive play against the team in the first game, and Bizzle utilizing those peppers to be able to get some different angles and farm and get all the information that he needs to make the decision and enable Dubs and Mega to make the plays. I mean, what a great teammates to have to do your bidding. And Mega and Dubs, they're no stranger to the competitive scene. You know Reflections, that they have some accolades to their name.
Oh, they got a lot of accolades, man. I mean, this roster is solid. And not to mention, too, we talk about competitive. Obviously, this is a competitive style of game mode going on here. But Dubs and Mega were like the original duo for Friday Fortnite. Man, they were always tearing it up. They were in conjunction. I know they won a couple of weeks themselves. So, you know what? They know how to slay out. They absolutely do. And it makes them that much more deadly. Illis, though, is going to pick up Zate. So Zate does fall, and he gets finished off. Hopefully, the rest of his teammates are there to kind of help him if need be. But the battle will continue to ensue. Both teams looking to rotate out of this location. They've got about a minute. They have plenty of time, but I think right now they're prioritizing, Sancho, that rotation a little bit more than they did before.
No doubt. I mean, Mega and Dubs was finished 7th in the World Cup duos. They know it all, and they're rocking with Bizzle, who finished 2nd in DreamHack Anaheim. And recently, he's doing really well as well in the solos. And Bizzle finished 3rd in FNCS squads. And speaking of FNCS squads, with Assaults and Soap and Innocence and Scope here, and this is what they normally do in solos as well. They use the floppers. A lot of flopper plays. There's very great for storm retakes that you're going to see them kind of dip behind and take the damage. And we're going right back to Fortilla as the battle continues. And Team XSET is going to have to try to figure out this puzzle so they could move on, and you are calling it right there, Reflections. Looks like Bizzle are just gonna go ahead and disengage and make that rotate early.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. Get out of the way.
Got a nice
tag though from AV. And let's see, he's going to go for round number 2. Doesn't connect, but that's okay. Notice that Funk Bomb did fall a little bit earlier. See if they can maybe clean it up a little bit. Cease and Co. did not have the best of games that they wanted off the start, but it's okay. They get a second chance at it. 72 hours just down below here. And we actually will see a little bit of Coral, so that is encouraging to see. Paper in a bit of trouble, and this is going to be a battle that definitely needs to happen. Either way, though, there's a lot of contention in this small little location, and Jamper's going to pick up 72 hours. I got to say, Sancho, 72 hours, he's been struggling a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but Comp Tom is in full force. Comp Tom is ready to fight. Been rocking with Nate Hill as well. So, and Funk, Nate Hill and Funk go way back.
Oh,
and
way back.
72 hours goes way back, and it's also awesome to see the clashes of old champions and new champions converge here at Ninja Battles, as Cease has his eyes on Nate Hill, looking for some tags here as Jamper and Paper are kind of behind him. And it looks like Cease is going to say, I could confidently take on Nate Hill, and he's trying to find him, and he shot a couple of shots in it, and they do find a couple of tags. Nate Hill has been ousted, and the Bush Camper has to flee and hopefully does not get capitalized because he only has 28 builds to his name.
Well, Nate Hill in trouble, tagged up. All shield is going to be broken. Cease is going to be
vicious
going down low. Yutaki, it is a matter of time, and well, time is up. Nate Hill will fall, and all the loot goes to Cease. So that's going to be another team fully eliminated. Highly unfortunate. That was a roster that I wanted to see do very well, but it seems as if they're going to have to wait until game number 3. So Nate Hill, Funk Bomb, 72 hours. They're just going to have to wait and spectate.
Let's take a look at the current leaderboard again. Reverse is sitting on top with 16 points. Riverson, 16 points. Unknown Army with Benji Fishy, 14 points. So of course you can't forget a CRR, one of the most dominant controller players out there. A dangerous fragger. If Benji could kind of wrangle them in together and utilize their talents, I think they're going to be very strong. We're taking a look at it. You can see the lobby is allowing not too much congestion. We do see a little bit going to happen on the south side. The north side is very... it could be some congestion on that side of thing, and of course dead side is going to be all the way on the west coast. And we're taking a look at here at Rainbow Rentals. This was my landing spot when I played solo Sarita.
Sancho, Rainbow Rentals. Yay. Why'd you like this place, man? What was unique about it? What really got you to go here?
Oh, I mean, it's great. It's not that great for trios, but it was really good for the fishing spots and whatnot. You know, you got an easy start here, and you got a couple of chests to your name, and you could kind of rotate over and get some nice rocks. You're gonna peek into Holly. But as we're seeing here, Young Cog Clicks, Macwood are looking to up their performance, and they're gonna rotate around here, going towards that dead side that I mentioned, the west coast side, making sure that they're protected as they hear shots from the sniper and the hunting rifle. You got to be careful because those tags are detrimental. You don't want to use your resources at this point because these squads are slowly running out of opportunities to farm. As you see, they do have a lot of mobility already with those launch pads. It's going to be a key factor. No doubt they're looking for the rest of their, some crash pads, no doubt. And we're taking a look at Creole, Bucky, and Kanata. One of my picks for doing so well, considering that they've been doing really well. You know, finished first place in the Intel Cup recently, and finished first place in EMAD's Creator Cup. So this is a team that has been coming out on fire in the trio scene.
Absolutely have, and it makes sense, right? Kanata, like I said, was on the come up, especially whenever squads were introduced as competitive earlier on in Chapter 2, Season 1. Like I said, he was playing alongside that of Tifu, and that's where he really started catching up to the competitive scene, making a name for himself. So, and he's always been there as a talking point in the competitive scene. So the fact is, I think now he's kind of a staple, right? And he's had some great success. But you're right, I expect a lot from them. I want to see them do considerably well, and I think they will as time goes on. They don't find themselves in top 10, but I think they definitely will in the future. Bucky, Creo, and Kanata. And let's not forget, right, Kanata's had some success as of recently, but more importantly though, Creo and Bucky have 2. Let's week number 2 they got 7th with Unknown Army and Kanata. So with that being said, they know this format and they're making it happen. Assault though is going to be in a fight himself, and they got to be careful here. This is going to be a deadly one, it seems, as Benji Fish and Unknown, they don't know when to stop Sancho.
And they don't want to stop. I mean, Benji kind of got a little tag there, going ahead of the fray, and now they have a little jockeying position as Unknown and Benji were able to retreat. CRR did the right play to crank a little bit to get these guys off that house and allow them to breathe. And looks like Scope and Innocent Assault are not looking for a full phase engagement. They just wanted to get some tags in and let these boys use up some of their chug splashes and whatnot, and the rotation will continue on. And it's interesting to see that this is a kind of when Ninja Battles was announced with a lower lobby size than normal, we're talking about from 33 teams down to 20, and today we only have about 18 teams or 17. 18 is available. That's going to allow more clean fights. Not a lot of third parties, as we saw in the first game where Commandment and EMAD came down on Illis and his crew. We're going to see a lot more clean fights, a lot of more gentleman disengagements. They don't want to ruin the run just yet, and I think Benji is a big factor on that, letting Unknown and CRR to disengage. I mean, what can we say about Benji that hasn't been said?
I mean, he's been around forever. I mean, Benji, he's just that guy, Sancho. Like, Benji is just a player that everybody kind of, wants to emulate. He's had great success.
Yeah, I mean, he leads all of EU with 54 total final eliminations in current FNCS. Of the 24 finals games he has played of the current FNCS format, he has 9 of those wins have come across players of Bucky, Kanata, Day, Clicks, Amiro, and Stretch. So it's so interesting to see, like, all these players know how to win when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I think they do. And, that's what makes, there's only 18 teams. You talked about how few teams there were, maybe cleaner engagement, cleaner fights. But the problem is every team that you run into is a deadly team. It's a deadly trio that is seasoned. They've had success. And that's what makes each engagement, like, you really have to do a double take. You really have to think it through. Like, is it worth it? I know we get 1 point per elimination, but is it really worth it throwing away those placement points, to potentially get, a couple of points when it comes to eliminations? I don't know. They're going to have to make that decision. Either way, though, the circles, they continue to get smaller. The zones are collapsing in. And right now, it looks like we're going to be over the water. Makes things a little bit awkward. I can't lie. Nick A30, though, still up. Kanata's going to be rotating out. There's a lot of teams here, Sancho.
Yeah, and this is a first look at Bugha, of course, the World Cup champion, along with Avery and Chap. This is one of those teams that when you're taking a look at the circle, it's going to be an almost all water ending. And you wanted Coral Castle. Oh, I wanted Coral Castle, and boy, oh boy, we got it. We're going to see a lot of water engagements, and I think Bugha is secretly a fish, because every time I see Bugha and there's an in-game that involves water, Bugha just comes out of top. He had some crazy plays in solos where he was able to clutch a water finish, and if we're going to get a water finish today, expect a lot of resources being used in full tunnels to protect themselves from that ultimate low, which is the water below. As we're on board with Nick A30, it looks like Edgy and Replays and Nick A30 have made that I guess that adjustment that they needed to get them a little bit further and not go down in the opening moments of the battle. But they have themselves a very dangerous crew right in front of them, kind of holding them tight. And speaking again, dangerous, we're talking about Benji Fishy. He saw, I mean, I'm surprised. Can you imagine, Reflections, the pool you can have as a known to pull Benji and CRR on your squad?
Oh man, it's awesome, isn't it? I mean, we're talking about right now Benji Fish, CRR, Unknown Army. They're in third place at 14 points. And what's funny is you see Scoped, Assault, as well as Innocent's going to be just up ahead. They're at 13 points. So those are two teams that are fighting to take over first and second, where Reverse and Riverson are tied at 16 points. So that engagement could absolutely change the course of what top 5 is going to look like. We'll get back on board with that. Xset, though, let's see if they have a little bit more success here. They didn't play well first game. They ended up getting 0 points. Now they have an opportunity to improve. But I'm looking at AV. He's already fell down. He's now out. He's been finished off. So there's only 2 players from Xset, and now they're going against Emad, Sented, and Co. And that's going to be a tough fight to win. Commandment, he had a great first week of Ninja Battles, right? So he's now got something to prove. He wants to be back on top, and this is a team that is going to be hard to fight against. So either way, the Xset boys, they've got to improve, and this is their chance to do so, as the boys are going to be rotating out. Let's see if Xset tries to pepper them in the back.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. The Team Xset is punishing, and that was a very dangerous rotation that they decided to make using that water. I mean, swimming across, sure, it's a lot easier. You save mobility, but you could see the price they paid in some health tags as Team Xset is looking for some revenge for their fallen foe. But yeah, Commandment, man, Commandment is nasty. He did some wild things in the FNCS qualifiers. We're taking a look here at this 3-shot to see that this rotation is very smart from Team Xset, and they're trying to disengage from Emad and Commandment, and they're going to use this nice little divot, the natural divot that's created in Coral Castle here as they're approaching this. It kind of reminds me of the old school Loot Lake or Dusty Divot.
Sure.
With this big old crater it had in there. That was a smart use of that natural high ground, the natural decline there. Now we're looking into this fight has still been progressing. Now Eclipse and his crew are now joining Assault and Unknown as they're edging closer and closer here, and it looks like the north side of the circle is very much hot right now.
Oh, 100%. And for good reason, right? Because, this is going to be the natural transitional point. You think about everybody. No one wants to be in that water, right? They'll go into water if they need to. We have a lot of teams that are already there. It's very contested. It's very congested. But for the most part, people want to do their old-fashioned on-land fighting. But look at Benji Fish, though, right? This man is ready, and he's taking this angle, doesn't even build a roof over, no worries in the world. He's trying to find an angle just to laser Eclipse, Summer, and Nano, who, by the way, had a good first game, I would say, right? Getting 9th place, 7 points for them. So they are definitely in the running for maybe Apex in that top 5 mark, but everything is very quiet. We have 48 members remaining, and the zone continues to get more and more congested. Sancho, things are about to get wild.
Yeah, I mean, the teams that are in danger danger are those teams that are out in the water. They kind of stalemated themselves out there, and the rotations are going to be so dangerous if the fourth circle pulls back to the land. You see a lot of teams try to avoid the water as long as possible. In about 4 seconds, it was very quiet. But now it's about to get crazy. So let's see what happens. Ooh, all those people out in the water may be sunk as the storm pulls a little bit back on land. So Booga, I think Nick's team actually made a smart rotation as Edgy was able to get him out of there. But Creo, Kanata, they're in trouble. Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs are in trouble. But right now in trouble, Benji, as the chaos happens and the fight runs out. CRR is on his back foot trying to defend, trying to stop this push right now from Eclipse's team as their lobby is now focusing on CRR. The green light is a go, and oh my goodness, bad things are happening for both of these teams as all the lobby is trying to get tags and trying to sneak in eliminations reflections.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's the way Unknown lives, and unfortunately this time he is going to die. Goes down. Third place, 14 points, but it might be all over. CRR in trouble. Macwood from a distance, hunting rifle in hand, and he's trying to have it, collect up a couple of eliminations. The fact is, though, CRR cannot get a break, and that was not the play. I don't know what he was trying to do there. Maybe break through the builds. Didn't work out. But either way, though, he has a chance to pick up one of his teammates, even though one has dropped off. So 2 is better than only 1. He goes for it. Lasered, 54 health. He can't even pop a mini at this point. And Eclipse is not making their life easy, but he does get a couple of tags. CRR continues to face adversity and try to end up ahead, but the job's not over just yet.
CRR is going to have to use a pad of mobility to hopefully that the rest of the lobby is focused on the people rotating from the water, and that is, just gets away. I mean, now it's going to be a solo show for CRR, and he did really well in the Fortnite Invitational, finishing 13th. So let's see if he can do well, as Clicks is just vibing as he always does. And we saw a tweet from Macwood saying that he promises to keep Clicks into the fight, and when Clicks is engaged, he's going to be super dangerous. And as you can hear, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he's just straight vibing because he knows he has a great position going on for the rest of the fight.
Oh, yeah, he's chilling, right? And you know what? Clicks was in this position before. Think about game 1 when he took over that high ground, ended up falling a little bit earlier than expected, especially if you looked at his positioning. Illis, look at Paper, though. Picks up Funk Bomb once again. He goes down 72 hours as well. Nate Hill does fall cease, able to pick that up. Hugely beneficial, but X-Set, unfortunately, now is starting to fall. Not what you want if you are a fan of the X-Set boys, but hopefully they will get more points than they did before. Game 1, they were only able to get 0, so not where they wanted to be, not where I expected them to be, but the half and half is here, and it looks like one full squad and a solo is going to be in it. So a lot of rotations are about to go down. Is about 35 seconds to Storm starts to move.
What a smart rotation from Macwood and Clicks, knowing that CRR is all by himself, so they're going to be able to try to save as much mobility as possible. And now they're looking back into it, looking to turn and burn and get these tags, as the rest of the lobby's having to use their pads, considering that circle, as you mentioned, Reflections pulled so heavily. And here comes the tags trying to catch these gliders out the air, and nothing yet for Macwood, as now it is too much. It is swarming in, so now he's gonna have to turtle up and look for an opportunity to make the rest of the rotate here. As you see, the rest of the lobby's down underneath, and Clicks and Calc are still looking pretty, and they have Bizzle, Mega, and Dub sitting underneath. And Nosh and Riversaw and Zypha, they did really well. They're in our top 3 contention.
They did.
Looking for those gliders as well. And Nick A30 is in his squad, are doing the late rotation, don't get any tags. And there's one more squad, Reflection, that's out of the zone, and it's going to be very dangerous. Here it is. It's actually Chap, Booga, and Avery who are sitting out in the water, and Miro picks up Booga. So now it's up to Chap, and Chap goes down, and now it's Avery all by himself, because he saw that it was very dangerous, that stalemate they had in the water, their Reflection, that actually cost him here on this rotation.
I know his name is Chap Don't Care, and from him just casually gliding down, getting lasered, maybe he doesn't. That is unfortunate for him. Luckily, he is still up. He has the opportunity to get res. I know his teammates are right beside him, but that was a vicious turn of events. Macwood looking to take the head off of EMAD. Having a couple of others up ahead. RPG goes through, only going to break a couple of builds. That was a good stare in order to kind of soak up the damage. But like you said, man, a lot of contention taking place. It's good to see, though, a lot of our top 5 teams, top 10 teams are still around.
What a big pull from E-Man Commandment. They actually pulled circle, and they have the ability to hold this height. This is going to be a very bad situation for Clicks right there, who's second from height. They were kind of jockeying right there, but the circle favored Emad and his crew, and they all have to do is just stay up there and hold it. And like I said, in trios, you have the what I like to call the height stamina. You have the necessary materials. You have everything that you need in a trio group to hold it. And I think they're looking very pretty, and let's see how they play this rotation here as we go into our first full rotation circle of 6.
Already Clicks airborne, trying to do what he did in game number 1, trying to take over that high ground. Unfortunately, misses the build, so a high-risk play nets him down to 31 HP. Luckily, he has some minis and half pots to take, but still, he doesn't want to be using them this early on. Still 40 players remain, so dropping here would be hugely detrimental. A lot of players to take down. Emad, it's basically skeet shooting. He's just going to be looking on, trying to get that damage, still with the high ground. Everybody else trying to rotate in. I see it, the tarping over, but that's a lot of mats being used.
That's good. They're good. They're sitting pretty. They're gonna go ahead and tarp over everything. Longest all they have to do is hold it and make sure the shockwave doesn't come up, as Macwood and Clicks actually take height right behind. That was the second team for height jockeying, as Mega and Bizzle lost dubs, but that is right here right now. They're gonna be able to hold it as much as possible. As you see, Macwood and Calc and Clicks were able to take it away from them, so they almost had it there, Reflections. If they would have held on to the height, Emad, they had it, but Clicks and his crew made the right play and they took it from him. And I haven't heard the shockwave launcher yet, as we're on board here with Miro and his first place team here with Reverse 2K, who are still on their feet.
On their feet, but for how long? That storm is deadly. Bizzle getting tagged up. Dubs is already out. Megan now trying to compliment Bizzle if he can. But that Storm Surge is tagging. HP is going down. Now everybody's going to get desperate, especially Mega Right. I mean, he is getting tagged up, and he knows he needs a couple of hits. He is able to secure at least one. That's going to put him 90 above, so he's going to be feeling okay for the time being. But still, the tags continue to come in, and a lot of these players are not comfortable. Mega, he is now 60 above, but he doesn't feel as comfortable there. He wants to get a couple more.
4 more people need to fall for the Storm Surge to stop. It is doing some major damage on this rotation. And as you've seen right now, everybody is scrambling to get together to reset their builds, as replays at Nikkei 30's team are doing really well, and Edgy picks up a scoped and assault. So that team is clicking on all cylinders at the right time, as we're on board with Reverse 2K, and they're right now sitting on this outside of the rotation, and they're doing their best to survive as Mega, Dubs, and Bizzle fall down, and that is it for Storm Surge.
Storm Surge now out, no worries there anymore. Mega's gonna fall alongside that of Replay's Jamper. Miro sees a ton of bodies are dropping, and AV is making it happen alongside that of Synth, and AV actually gets 3, as 3 players will fall. Synth will pick up Miro, and it looks as if that kill feed is all Scented, as well as AV. Bucky will fall. Creo 2, a team that did very well in game number 1, now looks to fall a little bit earlier than expected. ICV picking up Creo, and that team should be out of the way. Only 17 players remain. We're just moments before we were at 30.
Great layer for Keys Slacks that they have right now. They are second from height, yes, but height is not focusing on them, as Illis, Keys, and Slack are racking up elims by just editing down and picking apart everybody at ultimate low. People like Arkham are in danger from the second height. For some reason, height is not picking on Keys and Slacks, as they are now making their way. Their focus is now turning, but Keys and Slacks and Illis did some great eliminations right there. So Macwood and Clicksync Young Cow have control of this lobby, and I've still yet to see, as there it is, the danger from height picks on second height. So Reflections, you do not want to stay on second height that long, because eventually height gets wise and picks on you from above.
It absolutely does. No, look at Slack. He ends up falling. Commandment as well. And that is a team that was absolutely a powerhouse coming into this series. Shark in a lot of trouble getting tagged up. Emad up top. Macwood too with that high ground. But is it going to work? We have seen high ground plays not work for the best. Some people love that low ground. One benefit about it, though, is the fact that he has a couple more builds, but he's out, and no! Cease or Calc will also fall. Synthed too. And actually, I think Illist and Co have a real chance here.
And they have a real chance, but Macwood sent the split, and Arkham is all by himself. But what a great split from Macwood, as Team Exit is still fighting, and Macwood's on height. He doesn't have any heals, so he has to hope that Clicks causes so much damage downstairs. With Team Exit, it's up to Macwood to kind of control height, and they do. What a smart play to split, and Clicks and Calc do the damage needed for Macwood to take game 2 here of the Ninja Battles Week 3. Woo!
Whew, man, what a game. Young Calc, we knew coming into this, that roster was looking nasty. They were looking deadly. Well, they proved that to be the case. But of course, they take the victory, but you also have to highlight the XSET boys. From game 1 to game 2, not the same story. They performed incredibly well. And I got to mention AV, by the way, a deadly controller player himself, popped off. And I believe he at least picked up 6-7 eliminations while the zones were moving in. And not to mention, too, I do believe they're going to pick up 7 points themselves based upon their finishing. I do think they were able to place within 2nd through 5th whenever it comes to the overall team placement. But hey, another game down out of the way. We've seen some teams fall off. We've seen some teams now progress forward, and that's just the way of the world.
I mean, we saw Clix earlier vibing, feeling good. He knew that they were going to do really well, and I think the play of the game was not actually the victory royale. We all know the victory royale is always the hotness, but this the butterfly effect that's happening, and it was the retake that was just a simple 90 crank. They didn't have a shockwave or anything like that. They were able just a simple 90 take, and hopefully we get to catch that as we get see some replays. But they did a nice 90 retake. They cranked the height, and Clix and Macwood and Calc were able to take the game away from EMAD, and that was a big play. As we're seeing some early action here as Nate Hill and Funk Bomb and 72 Hours are trying to get it, and that right there, as we saw where Booga was at that stalemate, and that would cost them because they had a very bad rotation. But Unknown and CRR actually did pretty good, was able to get a little bit longer around, but that call from Macwood to see that CRR was the only person standing in their way of the rotation was big. I think it was a very smart rotation that will enable them to save a lot of resources as well. But yeah, some good action, and Illis and his crew and Slacks keys were kind of popping off, but unfortunately in the trios, you do not want to be second height because eventually height itself will come down, and that's what you're seeing right now. Macwood was able to kind of get on it because Reflections, there's so much noise at the end game that you can't hear that edit that normally you would, and that is what's happened right there. Right. As you can see, they call the split. They send, what a team to send down there of Clix and Young Calc to go as aggro as possible. And luckily, Macwood was able to survive because Young Calc and Clix did all the damage down below and let the Storm take over. And that was a nice victory there in game 2 here today.
Oh, 100%. And you know what? We're getting our feel. I'm just happy to be here, right? I'm representing, whether it be Ninja, representing Ninja Battles, watching some of these best trios played out. Because like we said before, this is a fantastic indication as to how trios competitive is going to work in the future. These teams are only going to tighten up. A lot of these rosters are already solidified. These are the trios that will be competing in the future for trios competitive. So this is a good indication as to what we can be expecting from a lot of these guys playing today. Either way, that's game number 2. We still have 3 more to take place. We're going to go to a quick little break as the stats do get worked up. But as we come back, we're going to have some more stats. Who dropped off? Who went up? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninja Battles week number 3. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by the Sancho West himself, and we have seen 2 phenomenal games, and I can't wait to see what that scoreboard has to bring, because we've seen some teams rise to the top, aka XSET on the back of AV, but we also saw some familiar faces coming through big in the end, of course, with Macwood, Click, Young Calc taking over that victory. I'm sure that's going to elevate them up to first place, but hey, I don't know. Like I said, I refuse to do math on stream. It's just not going to happen. So Sancho, game number 2 is done. And, have there been any surprises to you? Have there been any big storylines? Because, you talked about Clicks Unknown. Yeah. They're always finding each other. You're seeing Bidgy Fish compete. What have you liked so far?
I mean, I think the biggest story is that in trios, they've always said that the shockwave launcher, grenade launcher, wouldn't be as dominant as it is in solos, as we've been seeing in the FNCS scene. But it is surprising me that it hasn't been utilized too much. I think it's because you have to have one player carrying it, and we're seeing that. Wow, look at this! The game 2 results. So AV, Shark, and Knight teams XSET were able to go from the literally 0 points the first time around, getting 18, and that is huge. Again. Ladies and gentlemen, the way we do it is we show the game 2 results and then we show the overall leaderboard. So that is going to be important to point out. But as you saw, Calc, Click, and Macwood were able to get so many points there as well with that victory. In fact, that is their second win in Ninja Battles, adding their 1 week from week 1. So they tied several others like Nate Hill and Funk, and of course Reverse 2K and whatnot.
Yeah, 18 points is phenomenal, right, from the boys of XSET, given the fact that they didn't perform well in game number 1. So it's got to feel good for them. Of course, we have to take a look at our current leaderboard overall. Reverse 2K, you highlighted them, man, for good reason. It seems 25 points leading the way with Miro and Day up top. Young Count, Clicks, and Macwood on the back of that victory royale, plus a ton of eliminations will net them up to 23, 2 behind just first place. And third, of course, Riverson, Ziffa, and Nosh are going to be up there. And you know what? That's got to make them feel good, given the fact that, they were in second just a bit before, but hey, they're still up there with the best. Do want to point out, though, Reverse 2K continues to maintain that first place spot, not only from game 1, but also through game 2.
Yeah, and also who has to feel good is Team XSET. They actually have tied to record the most single game eliminations with 11 in game 2 here, tying Unknown, Kanal, and Creo from week 2 of the Ninja Battle. So XSET feeling great. As you see, 0-18, they got to get away from those goose eggs, and this is a story we have to keep as well as an eye as Unknown and Benji CRR, the 14, and then that 1 point drop off. If they could just find a way to level out, to find an average, they're going to be very strong. As we're taking next look at the next page here about Clipsay, Nanolite, and Summer. Here are 14 points, a very strong showing as well. If they have that pop-off game, I see them coming up. And EMAD, Commandment, and Sentient, I mean, they had that high ground opportunity there. They almost held on to it, but I think their first game slowed them down, of course. But I still see that team being a big factor going into the rest of the way.
I think so. I think a lot of teams, are going to be a big factor. But what's surprising is Booga Chap Avery down there at 0 points. I expected a lot more coming from them. Nate Hill, Funk, 72 hours. We saw them get eliminated earlier on in game number 2, as well as, game 1. They were able to pick up a couple of eliminations, but still it wasn't enough. So I want to see those kind of rosters, elevate their way forward, maybe start to crack, top 10. For me, though, now heading into game 3, games 1, game 2's done. I think both, kind of all trios, right? All 18 teams, they kind of felt their way through. They know where, okay, maybe our landing spot's going to be contested. Maybe it's not. So they're starting to get an understanding of the way of the road, if you will, Sancho. So now going into game 3, this is what I would call the swing game. This is the game that if you're going to make something happen, this is the time to do it so you can put yourself in a comfortable position going into game 4. Because if you're trying to get something going in points wise by game 4, it's almost a little bit too late, because now you're going to start making desperation pushes. You're going to start going for eliminations when you don't need to do so. You're not focused on positioning. You're not focused as much on the overall objective, which is getting that victory route, getting the 10 points at the very end. So with that being said, this is the game to put up or shut up. This is the game to go big, because if you don't, you're going to fall behind, Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing some in-game adjustments right now. We saw that, Nick A30 and Edgy and Replays made an adjustment. They got a little bit further. I think Booga, Chap, and Avery definitely have to make some adjustments, and it'd be interesting to see that who makes those big adjustments and changing their POI. When we see teams change their POI, or it doesn't matter, solos, duos, and trios, you often kind of bump into somebody in these custom lobbies. So we haven't seen Zay, Saf, and Stretch uncontested, except by Kit, uncontested out there for the Shockwave launcher. I know it's not as big, but it's still maybe a team out there talking, hey, I need that Shockwave grenade launcher to be successful, or I want it this time around. Let's see if we can get it and do some damage. But yeah, we're seeing that in trios, rotations are very important. I know it's a very common thing to say, but for those people that don't watch competitive Fortnite, trying to play for center as much as possible, third and fourth zone is huge. And we saw that in game 2, where Booga and his squad had that water rotation. Nick A30 and Edgy and Replays were able to wait from that early and got a cleaner rotation out of there and did not fall next one. So it'd be interesting to see if this is a good battle bus. I think it's almost evenly sprayed out as we're going from east to west on the north side here, and we do see some llamas down south, so looks like there's one that's theming. That's going to be a big find. I think we do have a crew that's split, as you see on that little blue triangle heading towards the llama, so that's going to be a big find, because not only that, you get some guaranteed mobility with the launch pads, but some awesome gameplay overall reflections that we're seeing right here. And we're on board with Clicks and his crew, who walked away with Victory Royale in the previous game.
Yeah, Victor Route got to be feeling good. They're going to be at Craggy now. Just good POI to go ahead and get some slurp barrels, right? Get your shields up. Of course, though, we go over towards Dirty Docks for Reverse, which is actually pretty interesting. Ninja and Reverse love to play at this location, especially during squad. So it's nice to see that they continue to go there, or at least Reverse himself, free agent, looking to go big and make some things happen. Risky, though, for the boys of CRR, Unknown, and Benji Fish. And they've got plenty of rotational opportunity. Actually, they're split up a little bit, so CR luckily doesn't get contested here, so he's feeling okay for the time being, but he's going to have to get with the rest of his crew that I assume is going to be at Authority, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see how that works out. Maybe even Frenzy, but without question, though, game 3, there's a lot riding on the line. I think the pressure is here, but let's go ahead and have a little bit of a discussion as, the normal things end up taking place. Everybody's going to get their looted up. Things are going to be a bit slower at the beginning, minus that, a couple of fights here or there. But trios, I think it's a lot of fun. For me, I think this is the competitive format that Fortnite was meant to have. I love watching solos. I love watching duos. Squads, a little bit too chaotic. I think trio is a nice balance. So, Chad, I ask you, do you like trios? Do you think trios is the way competitive should be played? And Sancho, I ask you now, what do you think about trios?
I like trios. I mean, you clear definitive roles, and those roles, the tarper or support in the fragger, and you just find these nice combinations of players. So using his sneaks, his nice ambush, it's a nice hit with the common charge shotgun, and that's a big opening engagement right there. And this is going to be big. Yeah, Team X were able to get away and vault themselves up their leaderboard, but if they have to deal with Team A here with Bizzle, Mego, and Dubs, and they're always going to be that thorn on their side, and they the rest of the way in this Ninja Battle here reflections.
Yeah, it's just not the way, it's not the way, making a Star Wars reference there. But either way, for me, it doesn't make sense. I don't know why they continue to do it. Granted, XSET did have great success in game number 2, but that was because they rotated earlier on, right? They didn't get into that gauge. Remember, they were rotating earlier. So with that, I think that is the way that they need to play, and we'll see if they continue to do so. Not encouraging, though, is Nate Hill is already in a fight himself. Whenever it comes to Cease, Jamper, and Paper, they do not let them live. And Nate Hill's going to be tagged up top. He's going to lose a couple of his shield. Good movement from the boy of Paper. Up close, though. The attack is going in, but the compact SMG not going to be enough. And our boy Nate Hill will fall. Highly unfortunate.
Paper, Jamper, and Cease have found the recipe to take out Nate Hill from and 2 hours. This is the second time they've had this battle here at the old school Shark and on top. But when you fight down there in any kind of those basements or things that sort, it becomes a good old fashioned box fight. And Paper is one of those individuals that's very methodical in his box fights. He doesn't tend to get inside of a box quickly. He likes to tag the grid from the box on the outside. As you can see, Paper and Jamper, they're that duo group that they've been together for tailless oldest time. So they worked really well together to take out Nate Hill. And looks like Nate Hill, Funk Bomb, 72 Hours are on the in shambles, trying to make their way up their leaderboard, but they did really well in week 2. So I think the big change for Nate Hill and Funk Bomb in 72 Hours is that Nate Hill raised the grappler in week 2 of Ninja Battles. Of course, Nate Hill dressing up Midas, so maybe the Midas cosplay. getting the grappler, Jules grappler would be good to have. But the problem is, Reflection, is 100 Thieves Arkham and his crew usually land in Authority. So that's
right.
Don't want to face there. And I think that's why I changed their spots, because no doubt he'll have grappler. He working out. But what's working out for Illa, Slacks, and Keys, these are actually, I believe, our fourth. They did very well, as you Lazy Lake to be all theirs. You no longer see Team Nick third, and that's good. When you're uncontested, only not Grace guys. Sorry, out here in California, but clear skies for you here at the Ninja Battles Week 3.
Gray in California since when, man?
Dude.
You know, California's it's always sunshine, bro. What's going on? I thought you guys surf out there. What's happening? No, California, California's just massive, man. You know, but hey, either way, it is sunny here. I would have to say, until that storm does move in, right? Then it kind of gets a little bit cloudy. Want to talk about Nick, though, Nick and co. I'm actually happy that they did not try to force the issue once again. It seems game 1 and game 2, they were still trying to fight on Lazy, but now they're like, okay, let's take a seat back. Let's not get into those early engagement. That's okay. So I'm glad that they rotated out. Either way, though, it has been a slower start, and I think that is what is to be expected. I think all teams know that this game is incredibly important for accumulating as many points as you can to head into game 4, set yourself up nicely, like I said, so you don't have to get desperate. All teams are respecting this, so they're really focused more on positioning than focused on getting those early elims and kind of trying to ego challenge a lot of these teams out there.
From ops there, take a look at Cloud's team. Cloud, Fernando, and ICV are the team that we're going to rotate always down to caddy corners. In the previous game, I think they took out Zayt and Saf and Stretch, and they were able to third party that very successful. Good to know that for an ICV the weather station, it's a great place to land if you want to kind of third party into caddy corner, and sometimes Kit could do a lot of the damage. You could go right in there, but now we're on board with Innocence here, the Cuddly Bear Gamer 1. It won't be Fortnite if time, but yeah, I mean, this team, Assault Scope and Innocence are doing decently here, and Ninja out there looking for a better performance, but I think it's just a matter of their rotation always runs into Unknown and the boys, and we're on board here with Creo, Bucky, and Kanata, and they are on the opposite side of the map down south, and it'd be interesting to see how this comes out for them. This was my pick going into it. I know we talked about their experience, but I've been watching Ninja Battles right now, and from what I've seen from this 3 that a lot of these teams are fighting low ground, and I don't know if it's because worried about I don't know if they want to expense the thing contesting for height, but I would like to see a little bit more layer changes from the squads, because the low ground, all these teams are very comfortable fighting there. And so considering that the lobby is filled with very familiar people, I mean, I could talk to you all day about all the teams that played with each other. We have Fernando playing with Chat before, we have Cloud playing with Edgy and Mikey and Creo and Key, all these kinds of different names all about. So you're gonna know that they're all familiar with the rotations and their play styles. So it's gonna be one of those things to see like how it all unfolds when it gets to in game.
Absolutely. Like you said, a lot of changes. Maybe do they start challenging that high ground? That was one of the points you brought up. I think so. I think this is the game, the chance, because you already see everybody playing a little bit more passive than normal. They're a bit sluggish, if you will, and for good reason. They respect the pressure that is now here. They understand the importance of setting themselves up for future games. But now is the chance. If you are going to be aggro, you want to challenge high ground, this is the time to do it. Now, albeit you're going to need crash pads, right? Maybe the impulse launcher, you might need the launch pad in your possession to do so, but for the most part, though, this is the time to get a little bit risky, make it happen, and we might see a little bit more of that as we push forward. You know what? As far as Innocence, Scope, and Assault, I want to say Innocence, by the way, was a little bit of a late addition, but he always plays with these boys, so it made sense that he's here. But they're not worried about the storm. They're going to just prioritize getting kitted up and make themselves good to go for the future. Meanwhile, though, you talked about Bucky, Creo, and Kanata. They're happy. They have the ultimate high ground, and now they're just going to be able to pressure on this team trying to build up.
Yeah, and this is going to be very important here for the circle. As we took a look at the circle a little bit a while ago to tell the story of how this match will unfold. It looked like the circle is going to go south, so all those major outs are going to be a very big factor for teams jockeying for position. And as we see it talking about jockeying for position, it look like CRR and Unknown and Benji are being stalemated, storm held out by Scope Assault and Innocence right now. This battle and they can't too long of a battle here. No doubt somebody will be sitting on the mountain a little. Interesting to see if someone's out disengage and not take the fight.
I think that's the way to go about it. I think absolutely played a little bit safe. You know, there's still plenty of opportunities for eliminations moving forward. There's no reason to get crazy with it and, you know, just get into these engagements overall. And I think based on the positioning of a couple of these guys, forcing the issue really isn't a play because you're not going to be able to retake high ground. So just take the best play that you can and be okay. But if you talk about Fernando, you talk about ICV, they have the ultimate power position here up top. Albeit the zone will eventually collapse, the chances of them being in the safety of that zone is going to be slim. But if they get a chance, if they happen to get a chance where they're inside of zone, they can absolutely get blessed. And I love that team fire trying to break the builds quick enough for Riverson to fall. That would have been devastating.
Would have been devastating. It looks like Team XZ is taking a kind of cooler rotation, but it looks like a lot of these teams are trying to jockey for dead side here. And that is what Riverside looks like. He found some Marauders going to Stink Bomb to get inside. A couple of hits there, white tags there, and Team XZ is now entrapped with this cabin here with Riverside, and they're going to try to get away as much as possible. It's not the fight that they wanted. We do see a big battle as well happening a little bit on the upside, so a lot of teams grabbing this focus right now down in these cabins as we see Zay, Saf, and Stretch right now looking over as well, and they're going to try to get involved. But this is some bad news bears for these teams because they're so down south on the bottom of this elevation. If it goes up, then you saw up there Team Cloud is sitting very, very pretty on top of this mountain, and Zayt already knows that he needs to get up this mountain, and that's why he's kind of billing his way up, and he's trying to tell his team, hey, come on over here, we'll let them deal with that, and we'll pick them off. But that is for Zayt and Reload to do that.
And I'm glad that you talked about the elevation because it's going to be tricky. Fighting alongside of these mountains is going to be tough. I would, you know, kind of relate it to doing a fight around trees. It's just something you don't want. And when you have Zayt, Saf, who are going to be up top, right, it's going to be tough for, you know, Riverson, for Knight, for the XSET boys to rotate over. Plus, Creo as the ultimate hide is going to be able to laser down. Right now, they're safe, but who knows how long they're going to be safe for. And they can't just build up the mountain. It's way too much. They're going to get lasered. On top of that, it's going to be too much of a commitment. They're going to need a launch pad out. They're going to have the crash pad out. I don't see any impulse, so they're not going to be able to have that. But the point is they've either got to go to the right of the mountain or to the left, and they're going to get lasered. I'm going to be honest with you, Sancho. XSET, Riverson, and co., I don't think they make it out of this location. I really don't. It's going to be a true testament of their skills.
Yeah, true testament of the skills, but we're seeing the IGL, the in-game leader skill of Zayt and Creo. Right now, they're just scoping, and Zayt is actually in the cone, just checking to see who's at high, what kind of situation they have to do to deal with in this next rotation. So right now, you may not seen any kind of action or any shots happening, but as we're taking a look at the map, looks like Zayt right now is in a bad position, but Team EMAD right is in a solid position. As you see, Straight, Zayt, and Safe already realizing this rotation has to happen, and Team Cloud are sitting at the very top of the mountain, avoid reverse from the backside, but Creo sitting pretty, and Team Cloud are right now is sitting the prettiest. As you see, Mattwood, Clicks are making their way, looking cleanest rotations, and what you're seeing reflection is a lot of teams using wood because it is one of the most expensive resources that you can have, considering that you can find it anywhere, and they're just trying to protect themselves so they can't get tagged, so they don't have to use the resources, as you did hear some chug splashes here. But yeah, this is very interesting, man. This is the game that a lot of the Fortnite the people that love comp, as Bala called themselves nerds, love, because this is what it's all about: jockeying for positioning, understanding your map, understanding the terrain, making sure that as Arab would say, being inside the mind and getting everything right to get you in a Virtua Royale situation the rest of the way.
Ooh, well, I like this. I like this a lot. This zone is going to be spicy. You got NRG and co up top. You got FaZe down low. Replays and Edgy. They're not moving. Kanata is just in the back. He's ready to take the heads off if he can. Unfortunately, he's not going to get that chance as of yet, but He's lurking, he's ready, and you know he has that hunting rifle or bolt in hand, ready to gun some of these players down. But this is a zone that is very interesting, right? It has the potential, obviously, to be now up top on the mountain, which means we're going to lose at least 10 or so players when they start rotating up, but it also has the potential to be in the water. So this next half and half that's going to be coming up shortly is really going to be a testament to see who has it and who doesn't. But that high ground, honestly, I'd rather have that even if you lose zone and have to rotate down. They're a lot safer than the boys down low.
Absolutely. The zone is basically half water, half mountainous terrain. You see Nick 30 edgy replays kind of making the way, wrapping away around this mountain. And you got to avoid the high ground situations. It's going to be, it's at this moment, if the circle pulls towards, I think Team Cloud, they're going to have a strong opportunity to hold it. And I think right now, all the IGLs are trying to figure out where to be in this fourth zone, because this fourth zone center is too low. So that's going to be a big problem. I know you want to play for center, but Benji gets some nice tags. And look at the rest of the lobby realizing this fight breaking in as Nick 30 and his True trying to be opportunistic here, trying to get these tags that they desperately need. Some strong positioning right now. Benji and Unknown are going to try to get closer and closer and make this a box-to-box fight. And now FaZe is in trouble as they got Benji and Unknown and CRR knocking on their front door reflections.
And Benji is looking to go in. So is Unknown. It's going to be a tricky situation, but they've been here before. The box fight is real. Benji just trying to control the wall. He kept nice tag, though, and good timing to get a little bit of chip damage in. Benji, though, getting lasered. He's all right. He's been in this situation many times. He's very comfortable. He's burning through a lot of mats, which, by the way, once again, if they have to rotate up that mountain with all those mats being burned, they are going to be in a lot of trouble. Not to mention, though, you also have Nate Hill, 72 Hours, and Funk Bomb, who are up top, and they're not going to be making their lives any easier. Even though Unknown is the aggressor here with his team, with CRR going down, these boys are in trouble.
I would have to say this is getting intense. The winner of both week 1 and 2 we're in the top 3 after game 3 here of the Ninja Battle. So we're seeing some familiar faces on the top of the leaderboard, and they're battling out right now. As I can't believe that Dubs and Mega were able to survive that onslaught from Unknown and Benji, as actually they pick up some limbs here in the feed. And look at Kanata. Kanata just looking over, king of the mountain right now, just looking around. And if Kanata has a squad, I'm trying to see if Kanata's by himself. Maybe we could take a look. If Kanata's by himself,
I think he is.
It's going to be very interesting how he plays this out. But Benji fighting from the EU, the Dooley's CRR in that battle. I think that's why they definitely disengaged. So that's a smart disengage right now, and is looking on board. No, Kanata has his whole crew. I have no idea where Bucky and Creo are, but Kanata is.
I don't either. Where
is
are
sitting
they?
So I hear them. They're right behind them somewhere. So yeah,
okay, good.
They have a very strong, dominant position here as Storm Surge does appear, which won't be a big factor because it's just about to disappear here in a second. But yeah, there it is. That's a great shot. Thank you. We have Bucky, Creo, and Kanata. This is going to be their game if Circle favors them. They have saved a lot of hard mats. They have actually they have full. Kanata has full mats. So the investment into picking this spot is going to be king. And right now on the opposite side of the coin, you have Benji Unknown on the low ground on the beach. Going to face some big problems if Circle goes up this elevation.
Absolutely. They're going to be out of position, and it's going to be a true testament. Will they be able to make it out? I know they have a couple of launch pads, so they'll be able to use those if need be, and they have plenty of mats. But one thing is for certain, too, you look at the damage threshold, right? A couple of the guys who've been spectating are okay, but at least that the Storm Ticks are, in fact, going to be doing some damage to the Storm Surge. So that is something to think about, especially if you are some of these teams that maybe are a little bit below that threshold. They could be in some trouble.
Ooh.
Either way, though, this zone is interesting. And actually, all that high ground talk we discussed, now out of the way, we're going swimming.
We're going swimming. It's yeah, but what a bad pull for Creo Kanata. I mean, they could still make the easy rotation because the rest of the lobby is still down below, distracted. So they're gonna have to time their rotation very intelligently. They could pad over, but knowing them, they might walk this. But this is going to be a interesting half in and half out, as only 3 teams are in right now, and the rest of the lobby is going to have to make a choice whether to short pad in. But we're on board here with Reverse 2K and Day and Miro, and I think they're looking at scouting. They're looking for that prime opportunity because every rotation is about timing here. Reflections, as you can see, it's about half the lobby is down below, a little bit are down mid, and only a few are at the top. And here we go. Let's see if people are going to pad. I think this would be a great opportunity to pad, considering that so many people are going to be focused on making the rotation themselves. But I've seen one team, I think that's Creo and Kanata, padding right over. And actually that's Assaults, and he does get tagged a little bit. Out so goes the Crash Packs, and here comes the Chaos Reflections as everyone's making the rotation. It looks like Reverse 2K is going to slow down and make a late rotation as Rex, Arkham, and Epic Whale make their rotation, and they're safely in. Still about 4 teams not safely in, as the rest of the lobby is now seeing the fresh build, trying to sneak in some tags, but that was a nice hold from Rex, their Reflections.
Absolutely. You know, the fact that they get in, they're safe, they're feeling okay. They've got plenty of mats to work with, no worries. We notice also Kanata and Co has managed to get into the safety of that zone too. But now the zone is collapsing in, and we're going to have our moving zone taking place, and everybody now is going to have to go all the way across. They're going to have some elevation that they got to get through, but it's from one obstacle to the other. This zone is not easy by any means, Sancho, and it's being made even harder because Somerset, Nano, Eclipse are going in. Synth has already fallen, and Commandment now trying to keep them up.
Eclipse with the great call. The third place finisher in FNCS squads was holding and letting his team going to get that spray down as Commandment, his team is on his heels. But what a great call from Eclipse to hold, and what a big play inside the box. And Eclipse and his squad are going to go ahead and fight toe-to-toe against Somerset. Down goes Commandment, big time hit at ICV, finishes out Emad and his squad. But what a great call from Eclipse to kind of hold that out, as we're seeing Stretch, Zay, and Saf going for height, seeing that it goes up a mountain, and they have the head start to compete for high ground Reflections, as the rest of the lobby is going to have to make their way back on board with Eclipse, who made that last play. And Storm Surge is a big factor here, as 13 people have to go down going into this next circle.
And that's Stretch too, right? Stretch, he is 89 below, so he needs to get a couple of tags or else he's going to start getting tagged himself. But talk about Eclipse, 649 above. He is not having any worries at all, and that's based on that engagement he was able to get earlier. Miro getting tagged up. Stretch not playing around, and he's going to maintain his position. He's going up, and he is able to stay safe. Unknown, though, he's going to be up top. Actually, for the most part, he's relaxed, and he's even saying, look, I got a couple of mats here, boys. Come pick them up. We're chilling. We got high ground, and we're just going to wait until everybody else starts to rotate up. But Unknown, he's got to start getting some tags because Storm Surge is going into effect on him.
Yeah, and this is going to go up and over the mountain. That's going to be a bad rotation here for Circle 7 here. And no doubt the terrain was a big factor. So many people were at a stalemate because they had to make the choice of whether to navigate up the mountain. And Benji's getting tagged hard, but he's going to have to use all his materials, as Safe, Stretch, and Saf are sitting on the high ground looking pretty. And this is where the Shockwave grenade launcher may become a big factor. He doesn't have a lot of rockets, but they're going to be able to hold this high ground very aggressively, as the rest of the lobby is still struggling. Now Storm Surge is over, so that's not going to be a factor. But what is a factor is a dominant position of Zayt, Saf, and Stretch.
Zay taking a little bit of damage, but it was worth it to get the refresh. Epic well up top. He also has the grappler in hand if he decides to use it. So something to think about. Only 9 players remain, and right now there are a lot of players up top fighting for that high ground. Nano dropping. No! Nano drops down way too far, and this is going to be tough, especially now if that zone goes back up. Hopefully he has the mats to get back into the fight. Fernando will fall. Stretch picks up yet another one. He has been popping off.
Looks like Stretch, Safe, and Zat they might have this opportunity as it goes back a little bit over old builds. They do have the height stamina to hold it tight, as we're on board here with Nano. Nano is the last person. He is almost, I believe, I'm trying to look around, he's very close to height himself, so he has to be careful and drop down as much as possible. But he does get hit with an RPG and gets sent down low as Miro picks it up, another elim, and Nano is doing his best to farm and get as much elim as possible, as Booga and Avery come in, and Booga closes the door to that run. But Zay, Zap, and Stretch are sitting pretty on the high ground as we're heading into the final rotation here, and the circle is going to close. They're in Commandment right now. Actually, Kanata and Creo are really close to height, so Stretch and Zay have to do their best to get this team off of it.
And they look like they might be able to do so. I don't know. Stretch right now, I mean, he's sitting pretty. He also has the impulse, so he can actually just yeet people out into the storm if he so decides. So he has that in his inventory. But the fact that all 3 members are up here with only 11 members remaining here, they are in such a solid position that I don't know if they can get taken down. But then again, the low ground warriors, and I say that, you know, obviously because of the fact that Kanata is lower, but the fact is, this is still a deadly zone to be in. All mats are being used. Things are getting crazy. One player is going to fall down. Storm now in full effect. Rex goes down. Creo also falls. We're going to see Epic Well drop. Zayt, Rex. Zayt now also picks yet another one up. Staff is able to pick up Kanata. Creo will fall. We're now down to just 6 players as Stretch is battling against the storm and the remaining people. Stretch now. Saf going to be safe, and so Buga now, he's going to die from the storm. Only 4 players are going to remain. Saf is going to be safety in the zone right now, but no, Nero's out of the way. He goes up, and it's over with. It's going to be Stretch, who popped off for so many moments beforehand. They're going to take the victory, and Zayt and Saf better be buying him a steak dinner later.
The entire lobby was in shambles from those rotations. They literally had no mats, and you saw like the fish in the barrel down below getting just popped with charged shotguns. You saw Stretch going in with the shockwave grenade, but what a great win, and no doubt that I was looking for it. I was like, when is the shockwave grenade going to be a factor? It was a little bit of a factor, but no doubt that commanding circle pulling towards Caddy Corner was able to help Zayt Stretch. But they actually made a really strong play where they were on the mid. And Zayt was realizing that they had to go up this mountain. So they went up the mountain and made that wise rotation. And eventually were coming over the top, just like Sylvester Stallone, baby. Over the top. They already, if you watch a lot of FNCS, you know you're going to find Zayt and Saf on the high ground. And that is why they were able to be so dominant right there. But I have to give a special shout out to Miro for finishing second right there. And he was by himself for a long time.
Yeah, and that's not easy. That's not easy. You know, we talk about duos, we talk about solos, we talk about squads, trios. You know, trios is tough. If you're by yourself, you're, you know, in a 1vx situation, you know, worst case scenario in a 1v3, best case scenario 1v1, but then you also have the other trios to worry about. So the fact that he stayed up as long as he did, shout out to him getting second place, really securing, you know, a couple of points. Kanata with a nice step. Actually missed that one on Funk down below, which is funny because Funk Bomb and Nate Hill during Friday Fortnites, they were the sniper kings, but it seems like he got a little bit of taste of his own medicine there and got sniped himself. Either way, that last zone, Sancho, was insane.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of the taste of it to show, but what a great play from Eclipse. But this is the moment that I'm talking about. Zayt, and then we're able to hold the high ground. Nano, but look at the chaos of the entire. Oh yeah, he got pickaxe. Oh, the disrespect! Nice catch right there. But yeah, Nano, it was able to kind of hold their own, but unfortunately, Booga and Avery were able to come back to that. But yeah, what a great hold to them from height. But as you see, Rex and his crew, shouts to them. I mean, no doubt competing on a higher ping, considering these are the West boys, but they showed out right now. But wow, what a unbelievable ending right there. That mountain was a big nasty guy and created so much chaos, but it was just too much. The shockwave grenade launcher was able to bounce Miro out into the storm, and they were able to get that victory royale for Zayt, Saf, and Stretch. And I don't know, maybe Kit woke them up a little bit and they were able to help get that game 3 dub.
So, all right, it's time to really step it up. If Kid is taking us out, we're not going to be able to take out anybody else in these stacked trios. That last fight, though, where everybody was impulsing up, it reminded me of when Kevin was back on the map. I don't even remember, but the low gravity zones, it was just insanity. Everybody just popping up. Yeah. Either way, fun times. Game 3 is done. Yeah, rest in peace, Kevin, man. He was a good man. Maybe we'll see him once again. Maybe he's still in that storyline. Either way, though, Game 3 is done. 2 more games remain, and I'm very, very curious how this leaderboard looks because Stretch before and Co, they were not up there in contention with top 5. Now we'll see if they will be in contention with top 5 after that phenomenal performance. But either way, coming next is going to be Game 4 and the results. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninja Battles week number 3. The action continues to unfold. I'm very curious to see how the scoreboards are going to look, because those leaderboards are going to be insane. I talked about how game 3 is incredibly important to set yourself up right going into game 4, which is what we are about to do. Sancho, where you at, man? Where'd you run off to? Because I need my duo. There we go. Sancho's back, baby, and all is right with the world.
I mean, I had to get some water, man. These zones have been insane. We had a water zone. We had a mountain zone. And we had some intense action. I mean, we've seen that the factor here when it comes to battle royales, especially something as unique as Fortnite, is navigating through these zones and using your builds. And resources are so important here in trios. And a lot of them were in shambles at the very end because they had to use so many resources to navigate that terrain. I think it was my boy Arab who said, who makes a phenomenal series of Into the Mind. If you want to be out there on YouTube, you want to step up your game, I definitely want to check that out. He always says you have to play the puzzle. You have to play the storm. And the players that know how to play the puzzle and they solve it quickly are the ones that come up on top. And that is Zayt, Saf, and Stretch. And they were able to come up on top here in game 3.
Huge moves for them, right? I mean, Stretch was the big storyteller. He was the one who was popping off. You know, Zayt, Saf, they had their moments, but Stretch was the one who was consistently getting eliminations. You see 7 there on your screen, only bested by Boogachap and Avery, who were able to get 9. But you see how much of a difference those 3 points made, especially in placements. That gave them the lead, put them up to 17 points. Of course, though, those aren't the actual results, at least for the cumulative, but it is a start. And what a better way to start than obviously being here in game 3. Now we look at the rest of the members. Still, though, Nate Hill, 72 Hours Funk Bomb. I believe they're going to, collectively, they're only going to be at 2 points. They've been struggling. They haven't been able to catch a break. They've been getting sniped. They have been consistently making end zone other than game 2. But the point is, though, with so many players around, it seems as if they're just falling behind. So hopefully they'll catch up. Nick A30. Unfortunately, not working for them, but that's okay. Still, you know, a couple more games to play, an opportunity for them to move up. But this is what we want to look at, Sancho. This is how the story is unfolding.
Yeah, we're seeing that it was the clutch play from Reverse, his squad of Miro. Miro, I mean, we cannot talk about him. He's an up and coming to the scene, has been making his name since the Fortnite Solos Invitational. Monster D-Face pinned him as someone that you got to keep an eye on. And that is someone I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on because he definitely clutched it out for his squad. And that is why they're sitting on first place. So we're taking a look at the second page here. We have Young Kyle Clicks and Mapwood, who picked up the victory royale in game 2. Didn't have a solid showing out in game 3. And so that's why they're not going to be able to vault to that first page. Seen Unknown Benji CRR. It looks like they're kind of cooling down a little bit after their hot start. Or I think the rest of the lobby was able to see what they're up to. But Stretch, Zap, and Zayt, with the monster 17 points, getting right back into the fray. And you mentioned Nick A30 and his crew are getting a little bit better. But on this page, Key Slacks and Illis actually slipped down to this one after having a 1 point. But I'm surprised, you know, Team X said as well, you know, they kind of had those battles in the beginning. And the pick that we thought we'd do really well is Emad, Commandment, and Scent. Boogachap and Avery still trying to find their footing here on week 3 of Ninja Battles.
Yeah, you know, Bizzle Dubs make it too. That was a roster that I was very excited to watch, but in 15th place, not where they want to be. Now, as Game 4 rolls around, which it will be starting up shortly, it worries me because, you know, this is a game now where they're going to have to get desperate. They're going to have to put themselves in uncomfortable situations, go for more eliminations than maybe they're accustomed to because they have no choice. They've got to start closing that gap. So if you're down maybe, you know, below 10th place, you're not in that running, you're going to be in some trouble. I will say this, though, going back to at least, you know, the leaderboard, who was number 1, Reverse, Miro, as well as Day. Hugely impressed by these boys. You talked about Reverse so much going into this when we were doing our prep work, and for good reason, it seems. Reverse, you know, he has been playing incredible, and more importantly, I think he has something to prove, Sancho.
Yeah, I think, you know, being the free agent, of course, you have something to prove. And for Reverse, I mean, he's somebody that someone needs to sign this man, sign him quickly before the
Absolutely.
FNCS Solos. But the thing about him is that the reason why they're on top is they had top 10, top 5 finishes and 1 to 3, and that is a big part of their success. And what's interesting as well is that going into this next game is I'm surprised to see Nate Hill and Funk Bomb in this team struggling a little bit, considering they were doing so well in the Ninja Battles. I think that battle that they're having with the 100 Thieves Cease is being a big issue for them. So if they could solve that, I think him and Funk and 72 hours could certainly kind of make their way. I mean, you said it yourself. Game 3 is a swing game. So we saw that safe stretch, and Zayt were able to make that swing and kind of get themselves up into contention. But let's see if that continues on going on into game 4.
So let me ask you this, Sancho. You know, you played in your fair share of tournaments, you know, but you have. Let's give you the credit, right? So the point is that you played with a lot of talented people out there, Nick A30 being one of them. So with that being said, you're in this tournament, let's just say theoretically, but you're playing in this tournament, you're say 5th place, all right? You're at 27 points. You know, first place up there, the big bucks, $25,000. You have to cover at least 8 points in total to bring you up to 35. Do you play the long game? Do you go for the placement points, or do you go for more eliminations to cover that ground?
I think you have to continue making for placement points. You can't change the way you play. That's where you lean on your in-game leader to make these decisions, and you have to rely on them and make it. And just if they make the wrong decision, that so be it. I mean, the in-game leader, that is their responsibility. So this is the thing that is most important, I would say, is placement drives elimination, not the other way around. You don't knock people down off the totem pole by eliminating them. You knock them down from outplacing them. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a key factor. And I think that's why Reverse and Miro and Day are doing so well. And Miro is the kind of guy that from mid to in game lights it up. And that's where the eliminations come to him, because everybody is such in a condensed area. And I mean, I could say this for almost everybody. They all have their pop-off moments, but I think that since Miro is so white hot, including with Day, and they have that experience of running together with Reverse 2K, oh man, they're in the driver's seat, I feel, for the rest of the way today.
I think they are. It's going to be tough to take them down, you know, but this is the thing. If they do get contested early on, maybe, you know, they fall a little bit short, they could be in some trouble. Let's not forget, right, we still have technically 2 more games. We have this game and the next one, so you can absolutely fall from that pedestal, and being up top, you may not be as hungry to stay up top as the people are who are below you to take over your position, right? So with that being said, we'll see if Reverse & Co. can maintain it. Either way, top 5 is looking very tight. It's looking very good. In fact, there's only 8 points that separate first place through 5th place, and obviously it gets a lot closer from 2nd through 5th because there's only 3 points separating those boys. It's going to be a close battle, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. But one thing that has been very consistent is Reverse, and obviously being over here now at Dirty Docks. This has been the location he's been maining for quite some time, and he's making it work. He's making it happen, and nobody's contesting him. So all this loot, and there's a ton of it, he's getting for free.
Yeah, let me tell you about Reverse 2K. I mean, Reverse 2K finished 8th in FNCS squads, 9th in FNCS trios, 87th in DreamHack Anaheim, 90th at World Cup solos, and this man is still a free agent. Someone signed him, as Team Exit right now is looking to sign their name on Japper, and Japper gets bopped really hard, and down goes Japper from AV. As Team Exit it looks like they kind of changed up where they're landing. They're used to landing Fortilla. I think they're realizing that it's not a great fight to go ahead and switch it up the POI. This is the adjustments that they're making, and decided to land at Pleasant Park, which they have to be careful because Unknown and Benji is known to rotate around here. Also, Scoped and Innocence coming from those islands up north.
Let's not forget, right, the Exit boys, AV Shark and Knight, they're in 10th place at 20 points. So coming into game 4, they have to make up close to 15 points just to get where Reverse & Co. were at before. And they need 7 points at least to break that top 5. But they need, of course, they're going to need a little bit more because, you know, top 5 is going to be accumulating eliminations and accumulating more points as we go along. Benji Fish and Chap, though, you know, I'm really getting tired of watching Chap get lasered from the back, right? He has not been able to catch a break, and unfortunately, he falls once again. My guy, it is just not working out, and it's breaking my heart, Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. It happens. Everybody dog-eat-dog world out here. But no doubt, I mean, it's all good fun. I mean, we're all competing, yes, but at the end of the day, it's a good day to play some video games and make some money and entertain people. But at the same time, I mean, there's a little bit, you know, you don't want to be somebody's, you know, clout. Yeah, you know, I hate to use that word, but no doubt that is going to be something that they're going to be talking about on the Reddits or the whatnots. But as they go down, but
I think he's all right.
Hey, he'd be all right. I mean, Chap is one of those guys who's been around for a long, long time. He's going to stick around.
Oh, yeah.
As we're seeing Nate Hill, Paper, and Jamper, as they did lose Jamper out there in Pleasant Park. Nate Hill, Paper, rather than rotating to the Shark, they decided to actually, I'm sorry, Nate Hill, Funk have now decided to stay away from the Shark and go to Coral Castle.
Yeah, I think that's the play. You know, go out, get your loot, get kitted up, and not get into early engagements early on. You know that you're in a 3v2, but still, though, you don't want to take the chance.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, Nate Hill and the boys do have to make a chance here, take a chance to get back up. And I said it was a little bit previously during the break, is it was surprising that they weren't able to do well because they were doing so well in Ninja Battles in week 2. And now we're taking a look at Paper all by himself, the solo man. And I think the rest of the squad are there. Nate Hill recognize that. And I think they're going to push this. I think, again, Nate Hill and Funk in 72 hours are standing strong. And 72 hours, I'm not quite sure where he is, but they have an ambush opportunity to recycle Paper here. See where that happens.
Oh no. And they might do it up top. Paper forced to build up. Cat's out of the bag. They know where he's at, and this is going to be tough trying to keep his squad alive in the mix of things. You got to imagine he was able to get the reboot cards. Paper, though, they're not making it easy, and this is a chance for 72 hours in code to go big. Paper, though, trying to break out, staying alive as much as he can, using a natural coverage whenever he can. And I gotta say, he's managed to build a nice little fort. Good tag for 120 onto Funk. Brings him down low, captures him, gets a nice hit, but no! It is going to be Funk who's able to get a beautiful headshot despite getting chipped up. Takes him down, emotes on him for good measure, and lets him know, hey, this is our place to land.
Yeah, it's a good adjustment there from Nate Hill. I did see in the feed that Unknown, I think, was able to pick up a big name elimination. So that's going to be interesting to see how that puts out. Unknown actually took out Booga, so that was huge right there. And that's the more and more big names are taking out each other, and that is the beauty here of Ninja Battles. The biggest names of the Fortnite scene all converging here. I sit at the very top. 25 World Cup participants competing, and we have so many champions from the FNCS scene competing here today. And that is what's happening right now. As Liquid now 72 hours shows up after all the loot he has, and he has a very great kit. He's gonna have to protect his boys from Team Xset, as Xset repping the set, trying to get some shots here. And it looks like Nate Hill and Funk are they have to keep him away, because at 3v2 it's winnable, but you still don't want to have to get in this kind of a fight.
No, you absolutely don't. And not to mention, too, Xset is the one who was able to take out the 2 members alongside that of Paper just a little bit earlier. So they have 2 eliminations to their name. So Xset is doing very well. As I mentioned before, they came into this so in the leaderboards overall at 10th place. So they need 15 to catch Reverse and Co. So they're starting off strong with 2. But you still don't want to get too carried away. I asked you the question earlier, what do you play for if you're that close? Do you go for eliminations? Do you continue to play your game and go for placements? Well, it seems as if they're taking the page out of the playbook of Sancho West, right? They're just taking their time. They'll get eliminations when they can, but for the most part, they're just going to chill out.
Take a look at the standings that we have here. I mean, Xset, they kind of slipped a little bit there. I know that they're going to do their best to kind of regain their footing and have time here. Taking a look at Assault, Scope, and Innocence. And this is what I was talking about. If you're going to make adjustments, you're going to still run into your set. So that's why it's very interesting. If Team X wanted to go to Pleasant Park, they're going to run into Assault, Scope, and Innocence, because they're going to come from the north side. And Assault, Scope, and Innocence have been making this rotation almost every game coming from the north. They're going to have a lot of floppers. They're going to have those high ground retakes. I mean, so much good to say about these guys. I mean, Innocence finishing 98th in the DreamHack in the Northeast in July. Assault as well. I mean, having so much solo accolades, finishing in the top 50. And I think both of these guys are going to compete. The whole squad is competing in the FNCS solos happening this weekend. You can check that out on twitch.tv/Fortnite and all other places of YouTube and Fortnite as well. Even on Twitter if you want to watch it. But that's going to be an exciting game to watch of the comp scene and see who comes out on top of this season. Taking a look at some of the people on the top as well. Bucky Creo. And I love what I like about trios as well, as we mentioned it when you asked me, is I love these big mega bases that they use to recycle these old natural buildings and things of that sort. You're going to see them farm it up and build these huge bases, and they try to build it as center and hope for a circle to come to them. It's interesting to see how Zypha and Riverson and Nosh have been splitting this up. In the previous Ninja Battles, week 2, Riverson and his squad were landing at the rig. Of course, map changes. It's not as strong as, so now they have elected to push up a little bit and land at the Slurp factories. We're taking a look here, and that is why they're a dead center. You're wondering why they're building like that? Is simply because as Circle reveals itself, it's going to be a big side. Now, it's going to be interesting to see who takes the slow side, the dead side. The uncongested would be all the way down south. The you can see, I'm going to weatherman this. You're going to see some big factor storm clouds over here on the northwest side. So that's going to be a hard rotation to make, especially for somebody of those people that land at dot and things of that sort. So we'll see how that all folds out here as we're on board here with Team Cloud of Fernando and ICV. They had that high ground opportunity in the previous map and they just let it slip away as the rest of the lobby kind of like swarmed all over them. But sitting nice here, and this is where they're making that dead side rotation, which you don't know, it's the cold side. It's where you're in a lot of action. You can have some clean rotation. And granted, the lobby size is not as big as usual for Reflections. It's still and to deal with someone gatekeeping you or storm keeping you or having to deal with your slice of the, I like to say, the slice of the pie.
That's true. I mean, you know, hey, take it for what it's worth. It's tough whenever you're rotating into people. So getting on that cold side, as you mentioned, or I guess the lesser side of the pie, if you will, right? Getting in, and it's always beneficial. Those boys, though, in Slurpee, I mean, they're living life. They are living fine. They've got the 3-story apartment. They are chilling. No worries in the world. You got to imagine they also have some slurp barrels around. At least I see one. They got some half pots. And they're going to be able to recycle a lot of these mats, too, by just destroying without, you know, damaging the integrity of their overall base. Bit of an early engagement, though. Dubs, Nosh is going to go ahead and tempt fate himself with that RPG, try and break up some of these builds. And we're going to see a little bit more of this as players, like you mentioned before earlier on, trying to get that center zone, right? Trying to understand the importance of their positioning, especially as we start to get into the later zones of things. So a lot of contention here is going to happen. There's not going to be any full-fledged battles, you would have to assume, but at least for the most part, people are just going to be trying to get those early tags, avoid that storm surge, and we're going to see a little bit more of that taking place. A lot of that transitional point, though, from the right side of the map is going to be where everything is going to be a little bit crazy. But for the most part, though, it's going to be business as usual for these squads. What? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 5, 6 squads in this one area alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking at Dubs here. 7 places in the World Cup duos, 15 in the World Cup solos, competing in the FNCS solos this weekend. One of the out there in the world, and you're about to see some major renovations here, or renovations. That's what we're looking for. Talking some, like, I don't know, some Property Brothers type of style renovations here, because everything
Property Brothers. Property Brothers.
Hey, listen, man, I'm at quarantine. I'm watching shows.
That's fair.
HGTV,
That's fair.
You know, you're gonna see all builds are gonna be replaced with, you know, a lot of piece control is gonna happen. What's gonna happen, and the rest of the way it forms circles go back and forth all over Slurpee. You're gonna see that a lot of people going through old barbs, as Clips say in Somerset, are gonna see if anyone wants
Oh,
and they say, no, sir, you don't need sugar to neighbor, and Somerset's gonna have to turn and get out there quickly. Maybe crack your neighbors of unknown NGCR are about to give you the hello that you need. Nano Light gonna kind of sneak his way back into the build and maybe sneak up as Unknown and Benji Fishy are pushing in right now, and Summer is heading for the races.
Unknown going up in the air, trying to find a different angle. Summer, though, now forced in the storm. That's not going to make his life any easier. Nano, though, will at least get a tag onto one, but still, their life is very difficult. Launch pads in hand. You could have think that Summer could get out of there, but it's going to be risky knowing how Unknown could laser you from the air. And also, too, Benji Fish, you can't discredit him whatsoever. But benefit, though, is Nano, as well as his teammate Somerset. It looks like Unknown, Benji, they're going to let them live. But you already know they're going to be on the other side of that safe zone where the storm has ended. So their job isn't done yet. I mean, it's out of the hot water into the frying pan, if you will. And I'm curious to see how they're going to make it out. But now look at how contested Slurpee is at this point in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now there's another squad in there that is 8. So that's 24 total players in there, Sancho. But look at this base. Look at this behemoth. Creo, Bucky, and Kanata, without question right now, are absolutely satisfied with their positioning.
Yeah, they're satisfied right there. And Clicks and Mapwood and Kalkra found themselves some Marauders, and you're going to do their best to get their spoils. This is going to be a big-time factor, considering you're going to have some build. I just feel like right now, in my mind's eye, the storm is going to kind of sway back and forth all throughout that POI. So stinks are going to be a big factor of pushing people along. And this whole entire set right now is, it looks like CR, Benji, and Unknown are going for the ambush plays. It's already worked before, and they're going to try to get the rest of the squad here and sneak up on Somerset. They're not having it this time around. Here comes the all-charged Push right into the Summer and Nanolite are fighting for their lives as Benji Unknown and the Circle is about to push them down south.
And I can't lie, you know, Unknown and them, a beautiful play, knowing that reboot van was going to be there. Where's Nano and Somerset going to go? Well, they're going to the reboot to try and pick up Eclipse, but no, sir, not going to happen. Summer will fall. Nano now last alive in a 1v3 going against some very talented players. Benji Fish, CRR, as well as Unknown, and you already know they're going to be pushing that box. They're going to be spamming in. Nano's not going to get a chance to breathe. He tries to get out. No worries, he can't. But he does have those floppers. That's going to be hugely valuable. So right now, he's just going to burn whatever he can. And I think it's pretty much GG unless he can make some insane plays happen, Sancho.
Nice shout out to Summer, one of the women competing in this competition for Ninja Battle. So shout outs to her for holding it down as much as possible. Really much you cannot do against Benji Unknown and CRR. Nano is going to have to flop his way into Circle. And he cannot white line this, which meaning you see on the map on the bottom right, folks, if he's going to hold that track, those boys of Unknown and Benji are going to hold him out easily. He has a lot of flops. He has a lot of heals, and he's going to actually reboot his squad so he can distribute all those floppers. And taking a look at the monstrosity that's about to happen. This is the combo for the Storm. You've seen a lot of people jockeying up for positions, and I'm going to look at it, and no doubt, last time Storm Surge was a factor, this may be a big-time show for Storm Surge here again.
It absolutely could be, Sancho, and something to think about. As you look, they have the, of course, the chug splashes, which could be beneficial. Big close for comfort, though. Replays Nick 830 and Edgy. Now onto Funk 72 and Hill. Curious how this is going to play out. I don't think they're really too worried about it. Next setup's going to be up top, just looking to laser down. They continue to fight forward and try and gain as many points as they can, trying to get to that top 5 position. They started off sluggishly in Game 1. Game 2 is a little bit better. Game 3 was amazing for them.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can continue to work their way up. But for the most part, though, things are looking okay. I think all teams are pretty comfortable with the positioning. There's no crazy environment that you got to get through. So a lot of these guys, they're going to use these old builds and just walk in. We're seeing that from Nate Hill and Co.
Just take a peek and look at the circle. It pushed outside of factory. It's on the west side a little bit. So all those people that build base not for now, unless Storm pushes back there, you're seeing the congestion. The congestion happening on the east side of the circle, and that's why Nick 830 and his squad and Nate Hill are making this rotation, this gentleman's agreement rotation, because they have to, because they cannot go through the factory, because if they do, they're gonna get so much. But taking a look at the map, look at the congestion side there. It's Benji fishing on actually on side. They're actually so they're gonna make an easy rotation in. So it's up to Nate Hill and any kind of way as it reverse K and Day and Miro have an opportunity to storm hold them here. But what an interesting development. I mean, such a stack that could just add it.
Oh my lord!
It's insane. It's Buck Kanata are on top of it. So many resources are going to have to be recycled here. A lot of impact frag must happen because a lot of it's going to be wasted just trying to take as much real estate here as possible for these remaining troops.
40 seconds remain, and then everybody's going to scatter. They're going to go as quickly as they can. Reverse, Miro, Day. Like in their positioning, yeah, it's simple, but it works because everybody's going to be coming straight into them. So they have an opportunity to edit out a window and just get a couple of quick picks if they can, or at least tag up some players. But they do have to watch out. As you mentioned before, you got Kanata and Co. who's going to be up top, and that right there is going to be a big factor. A lot of fights are taking place down low. That's where the jungle is. Everybody up top, though, it's pretty much free picking as players now will start to rotate in about 5 seconds. So this rotation, we might have a chance of losing a lot of players here.
Oh, no doubt about it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we're edging to that. Take it on board. This is where the IG game leaders are going to read the circle as we hit the first. I think the right side is going to be free to walk over, and that's where Nick 838 Hill, both squads made it, and that's what the is from reverse. They're going to go ahead and move on to get into the safe side. Use as possible. They have a lot of ability. Another high placement here from reverse 2K and Miro.
Chad, I want you to watch those numbers drop. 45 remain, but wait until half and half is in full effect. You're going to watch, look at that drop down to about 30 or so, and then even less as we continue to move in. Liking this momentum, though. Zayt and Saf, they're out of it. Actually, Zayt getting a little overzealous. He went crazy with it, but hey, he's safe. He's now safely in that half and half, so he set himself up well. Kanata and Ko now going to be dropping down. We knew that they had the high ground. Now they're forced to go into the jungle for that low ground fight. See if that works out for them. Miro trying to get some tags. He gets 25. That's okay. He'll focus now on Innocence. No worries, but at least he's doing a little bit of damage because Storm Surge is a very real thing here. As things do get interesting. Super curious to see as to what does work out. I like that. Break the builds, and you see the players scatter. Kanata doing a great job using all of his inventory to make it happen. And at this point in time, things are going to get a little bit wild, though, but for the most part, I think everybody's kind of comfortable, right? This is the competitive that they're used to playing. Nosh, though, absolutely goes into the Wasp Nest. He gets gunned down. Not the effect Nosh was wanting. Super unfortunate. He now drops. Hopefully the rest of his teammates can back him up, but sometimes that's the risk you take, guys, whenever you use, some of those launch pads, when you use those crash pads and you just want to just beeline it straight into some of the builds. Sometimes you go into a box with 3 players just ready to gun you down. Edgy, Nick A30 in a lot of trouble. They will drop. Replays now up to his own devices. Knight, AV, the XSET boys continuing to pop off. Edgy, Nick A30, they were the ones who fell to their hands. As I mentioned before, XSET looking to work their way up the top 5. They started at 20. They need to get up to 35 points if they want to catch up. CRR now into effect down low. Using any build he can to just soften up. Take the impact of the damage, and Sancho, things are heating up, and look at those players are starting to drop off, and right now the Storm Surge is in effect.
Storm Surge is in effect, so 11 players looks like 8 in them are trying and tarp out, but CRR, Unknown, and Benji just basically cut down their build and knock them off of height, and that's what Kanata, Creo, and Bucky had to go ahead and try to save themselves with the crash pad. What a smart, high intelligence, 200 IQ play from CRR, Benji, and Unknown, cutting off that tarp as they were heading over. Now Stretch, Zayt, and Sap are commanding, and they're sitting on pretty, very, very on the height, and no doubt having that shot launcher here. Reflections as we're on board still with the CRR. Now on board with Scented Commandment EMAT, having a better run than the previous game. They do get greeted with an RPG, so Scented is going to have to rely on these flops as he's tarped out into zone, and he's going to have to be able to hold this position because this is front of Storm, and they have that strong position right now. They just have to make sure not to get, and here it is. Are going to start going down very quickly. Have to fall as Benji, Fishy, Unknown, who were sitting up at height previously in rotation, drop down below, and there it is. The effect is happening right now. Reverse 2K, Miro are still there. Commandment, EMAT are now at second height, but they're now being focused on Stretch safe. Zayt at ultimate height being challenged by Scope right now, but Scope pays the price and down he goes. And now it is Scope all by himself. As Assault is with his teammate here. It's Innocence. They're going back and forth as Innocence is trying to get Assault away from the frag, but Scope went for height and paid the ultimate price. Reflections.
And if I'm Innocence, taking my time, I'm okay. Nobody's challenging. Benji Fish, RPG comes by, whizzes past his head, takes a little bit of damage, now down to 37, but luckily was able to get a cleanup. That makes sure he got 50 more health and some mass, but he does drop. Unknown now in a lot of trouble. He's got out of situations like this before. He doesn't know how to slow down, and unfortunately, he will get shut down. Creo follows up, takes him down, and now everybody starts to rotate through, but I want you to pay attention to the top. Stretch and Co, his entire team has the high ground. After that last game 3 where they were able to capitalize and clutch up and make a ton of points, now they are looking to break an Apex top 5. From that top position, Sancho, I think they have a real chance to do it.
Real chance to do it, but they have so much going now. They're being focused from all angles right now, and actually his team, as Cal coming in and take out Commandment, and reverse 2K as the circle's going to go ahead and push them a little bit. What a great rotation here on the outside from Verse 2K, Day and Miro. They are playing so intelligently. They may have to do a layer switch as they are getting focused from height a little bit. This is height right now. Yes, they are focusing on Reverse 2K squad. Stretch, Zayt, Sap are looking very, very, very good right now as the circle is going to push them all the way to the northeast, and they do have the builds to hold this height. Reflections as we're taking a look South stretch on height. We have so much action as first mirror on the second from height. They have to be careful. And Clicks is sitting up ultimate low with Bucky in the squad right above him.
Exit now out of the way. I do believe all players have dropped off, so the chances of going far in this game have now fallen. 12 players remaining again. Stretch up top. That's been the biggest storyline for quite some time. No one has been able to take them down, and they have a good amount of mats that they can work with. On top of that, they have mobility. They also have the impulse launcher that they can use to yeet people out into the storm. The possibilities are endless with this roster, and right now Stretch is not going to give up that position. There's no reason to. Reverse 2K, he'll take the storm damage. He's got the floppers. He's okay. And that amounts for Creo dropping down. We're now down to 10.
Reverse 2K and his squad are playing on a whole other level as Creo picks up the Elim on day, but Miro did pick up a nice Elim as well. These are big time frags because you're not only getting point for Elims, but placement. And Miro picks up another one, an ICB.
Jeez.
What a big time Elim. And there it is. Stretch and his squad stand tall. But the story is the consistent play from Reverse 2K and his squad. But no doubt, Stretch, Zafe, and Sap are here to play, and they are going to have a great day here for Ninja Battles Week 3 if they continue to find height on those late rotations.
Let's point out, man, I mean, they consistently place top 5. They are doing incredibly well. It's encouraging to watch Stretch, though. Stretch on that high ground did not let it go for at least 2 or 3 straight zones. Nobody was able to bring him down, Sancho. Made all the difference in the world. Except boys, they were able to accumulate a lot of kills. They fell a little bit later on, but still they were able to get enough to the point where they might be challenging that top 5 position. Curious when those stats do get pulled off. Either way, though, Funk, they were able to come through and do a little bit better, right? They got a couple of eliminations only to get finished later on. Eclipse, he had a decent game too, but it was unknown CRR and co that were able to go big, and they were able to accumulate a lot of kills. Now, let's not forget, they were in 10th place going into game number 4 here. So the point is, the teams that needed to put up big numbers, they did so, and they made it that much more competitive going into game 5.
Yeah, that is also a big point. There are reflections that for me, it has to be this consistent play from Reverse 2K. I mean, they're not landing for that mythical shotgun or the shockwave launcher. They are playing so intelligently, and they're making so many smart plays and rotations at end game. I just, what an unbelievable trio. And if they stick together for F and CS, they're going to be so dominant. And especially if they stick together for the future weeks here for Ninja Battles, I see them racking up a lot of big time cash.
100%, and big time cash is about to be underway. 25,000 for first. Let's not forget though, 80,000 in total. A lot of teams are getting paid out, but only if you manage to get up there in top 10. So you better make sure game 5 is played accordingly and played very well. Game 4 is now done. Only one more game remains, and the leaderboard is stacked, and it's incredibly close. We'll have those results coming up along with game 5 after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Ninja Battles week number 3. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Sancho West, and we have seen 4 amazing stacked games of trio competitive action. And now it comes down to this game number 5. And if you are down in points, hey, you better start getting spicy. You better start heating it up, because this is where you have to make it count. This is for all the money. And I can't wait to see those stats, Sancho, because Stretch and Co. have been the biggest talking points, not only in game 3, but now game 4, as they take the victory, and they are well on their way to maybe passing that reverse.
Yeah, I mean, Zayt, Saf, and Stretch are all hitting all cylinders right now. I mean, they are, for the people that follow competitive scene, you know why. I mean, they finished 4th in World Cup duos for Zayt and Saf. Stretch has been on a tear lately, making a name for himself, first in DreamHack North American East. And look at that. What a great performance. 5 eliminations, 10 points, getting up a big 15 points. And so, you know, Zayt, Stretch, and Saf are all competing in the FNCS solos this weekend. So that is why it's really cool to see them kind of turn it up, because they're going to kind of carry that into the rest of the way. Shout outs to Team Xset, setting the pace as well, coming back, getting that 2nd place finish against as well. Bucky, Creo, Kanata, they did really well holding that center zone on top of Slurpy Swamp. But Keys, Slacks, and Illis, I mean, they're kind of hot and cold, but if they could get hot again and close out game 5 very aggressively, I think they're going to get some good money here today.
Oh, yeah, I agree. They need to absolutely do it. You know, coming into this, they weren't top 5, but that's okay, right? I mean, they were absolutely working their way up. Those 12 points is big. That stretch, though, 15 points was phenomenal. But I want to say, by the way, Unknown Army, Benji, CRR, right? 8 points, that's big. But from what I'm hearing, they only got 13th place. So with that being said, you know, they continue to work their way up, but not the effect that they wanted. But let's not forget the fact that Unknown Army did pick his team a little bit late. But with that being said, 8 points, and look where it came from. No placements. It all came from eliminations. And that's something that we do expect, right, Sancho? I mean, when you're talking about Unknown Army, come on, it's all about eliminations with that guy.
Well, I mean, the most interesting thing is that it's never really happened before in the Ninja Battles to get 8 points strictly from eliminations. But it's showing you, you asked me the question, what's important, eliminations or placement? You get your placements, you get your points based off placements, which lead to eliminations. Look at Team Xset. They are in 2nd place, and they had 9 eliminations and 5 placement points. So they're getting into those in-game situations that are allowing them to rack up the points from both those, I guess, dipping into those both wells, so to speak. And so even though Unknown, Benji, and CRR are really doing well, being ultra aggressive, if they could just find a way to get the in-game, especially here for game 5, I think they're going to set themselves very well to placing higher up on this leaderboard.
Without question. And as we look at the overall standings, you know, you would have to assume Reverse might still be up there, but honestly, I don't know if 7 points was enough. I really don't know if it was enough to keep them in first, but actually it was. And believe it or not, they stayed lead even more than they did going into game 4. They were up by 5 points. Now they lead by 6. So I don't know how these boys continue to do it, but Reverse, Miro, and Day, they obviously have found the cheat code and they continue to make it work. That is huge, and they are absolutely poised to take home 25K.
There's a couple of factors that's leading into Reverse 2K, Miro's success and Day. Is one, they're landing at Dirty Docks and they're not finding any kind of congestion on their rotations going in. They're kind of staying smart and staying away from everything. And their ability to frag out an in-game is doing very well. They just light up the leaderboard. And we're taking a look at the second page here. Keys, Slacks, and Illis at 9th place. They had 12 points. And as you can see, you know, here at Ninja Battles, it's about consistency. And even though Team Xset is doing very, very well, those 2 games where they didn't show out are costing them. The same thing with Macwood and his squad. Even though they picked up a victory royale, you have to consistently place and consistently frag to do very well in Ninja Battles. And you're seeing on this page, Booga, Chap, and Avery were able to have that pop-off game in game 13. So in game 3, and that's what puts them down in 13th place. But let's see if they could have put it all together, at least have a respectable showing. And we've been seeing a lot of scoped assault and innocence on the broadcast, but we haven't seen them get those games all together, get those double-digit games. We're taking a look at the last page as someone who was doing very well in the previous Ninja Battles, Nate Hill, 72 Hours in Funk. I think the meta change and the changes of the mythical weapons kind of hurting them a little bit. But again, Nick A30 replays Edgy were able to make it adjustments, but they haven't found that footing to solidify them into the rest of the way here. But I'm expecting a big game 5 here. I just think Reverse 2K just has it all together. Like for some, he just figured it out. And And considering that they played in the Cash Cups and he actually had 2 different partners going into the today, and seeing that he picked up Miro and Day for today's Ninja Battles, I just think that's a cool story. Just to walk away from this, even if they don't win it, I think they're going to put themselves in prime position for FNCS trios happening in season 4.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want to go back to what you said, Sancho. You talked about consistency. That's what you need as Game 5 gets started. A lot of pressure is going to be on those top 5 teams, right? I mean, you were talking about Reverse and Co., Bucky, Cloud with Fernando and ICV, Stretch, and Arkram. These guys, yeah, they have the lead. They may be top 5 now, but they can easily drop off. Game 5, one game, if you don't have the consistency, as you pointed out, can drop you down the leaderboard. So that's something that has to be in the back of the mind. That's something that they have to stay on top of. And Reverse, they only lead by 6 points. Unknown just picked Unknown and Co. Now, I don't think they have the opportunity to kind of, take over first. I think they're too far behind. But the point is they picked up 8 points with just eliminations alone. So theoretically, that 6 points can be covered very early on. So if Reverse, Miro, and Day get challenged early on, they drop off, that first place that they held on to for all 4 games might be completely lost by Game 5.
Yeah, you talked about consistency, and no doubt Zayd's team is all about that. They are the 4th team here at the Ninja Battles to have back-to-back wins, joining Emad's team, Nate Hill's team, and Booga's team. So they've already did the back-to-back. It'd be interesting to see they go for the 3-peat as the bus does fly over them, and this is what I'm talking about. Look at the leaderboard. Reverse 2K up there with 6-point leads on Bucky. Team Cloud doing really well, landing at that weather station. Stretch, Zach, and Say are within striking distance, so they're gonna have to rely on Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day to fall right now, as we're taking a look at Nick A30's squad with Replays and Edgy, who made their adjustments and getting away from Lazy Lake and landing in Sweaty Sands, which is interesting because this used to be the old stomping grounds for Zayt and Saf. So luckily the call of the mythical shotgun, the mythical charge shotgun, has pulled these boys away, because Nick A30 and his team will be having a very, very bad time here at Sweaty Sands if that wasn't the case.
Oh, 100%. Imagine that. I mean, we already saw the results of Lazy Lake. They were getting contested off the start and how bad it was going for them. Imagine if they were getting contested now over at Sweaty, especially with the kind of storyline that you just developed. A lot could have changed. Either way, looks like they're safe. They're going to be able to come out with max mats. They're going to come out with a lot of good loot, and they'll be able to rotate out and feel nice. And over at Salty, though, we do have, Retail. We're going to have Fernando and Co., who's going to be at this location, and they are not contested either, so they're going to have an opportunity to get a ton.
A lot of R's.
Is that how you say it? Okay. Hey, look, I leave it to you to say. You know me, man. I don't have that Spanish tongue.
I'm just messing with you. Look, speaking of people that are messing around right now, you do not want to mess around with Rex and his squad, because they are heating up right there. I mean, in the previous games before to this, they are the North American West Giants. They went from 12-14 in the last 2 games. So let's see if they could turn it around here, man. I believe these West Coast representing here in the Ninja Battles, they have to show out. And, they have been showing out in their careers. They've collectively earned more than $2 million in their career earnings.
Jeez.
So maybe they're going to add a little bit more to that big bag purse right there for that line share of 25,000. And it's interesting to see here, Reflections, is that there's a lot of uncontested POIs, and we've seen a lot of adjustments to go to a lot of uncontested POIs.
Right.
I think that has been the big adjustment for helping these games out. But Macwood and his crew are landing here at the Cliffs here, Craigie Cliffs, and the reason why it's great is because you have these slurp little containers.
The slurp barrels.
You could kind of break them and kind of save all your materials and the shields and kind of all the shield and things that you find here. You kind of save it so you don't have to use it up on your further way. So this is vital. This is a great landing place for those people if you're looking to up your game, especially going into the trio season.
Oh, 100%. Like you said, you can't discredit, especially like over here at Slurpee, the OG. You're looking at a lot of slurp barrels. You're looking at, of course, the streams that do have slurp as well, right? That can kind of heal you up and give you that shield that you need, so you can just maintain those minis, the half pots, and whatever else that you do get. But that is usually a hotly contested area. In this case, it looks like it's going to be a couple of teams there. Now, from Nick A30 now over towards a couple of different trios, we are now going to be looking at yet another fight fight taking place over here at Lazy. And we've seen how this ended for Nick earlier. And of course, he's not going to be here. But one team that was a powerhouse team, at least on paper, coming into this week was Scented, was EMAD, was Commandment. And well, question, they have not been performing up to par as what we expected, but this is their start now to pick up a couple of eliminations, but it's not going to be easy going against Scented and Co, Keys and all them, right? So Illis and all them, they haven't backed up, but Keys, he's already being pressured and he's in trouble.
This is bad news for Keys, Slacks, and Illis as they were kind of in the midport of the leaderboard trying to make their way up. So it's going to be so interesting to see. They need to survive this as EMAD and Commandments could kind of slow down the run as Chap does pick up an elimination on Unknown. That's kind of crazy that happened right out the gate. So it's so bad. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When teams make adjustments, and EMAD and Commandment and Scented, they're kind of where they come from Misty Meadows, so they kind of rotating a lot faster, and I think that's catching Slacks and his crew off kilter, and they're gonna have to do their best to adjust. And the fights that you have here, Reflections, are mainly box fighting. You can see the piece control that they're trying to take. They're taking the cones up ahead, so that way Command and EMAD have the control, and they're gonna try to pinch. As my boy Ozzy Antics said, they're going for the pincer plays, and that's what's gonna happen very, very soon. Is they're about to squeeze out, and they're slowly suffocating and putting Slacks and Keys and Illis in bad positioning.
And so much is being committed here. I mean, we've already seen some chug splashes get used, a lot of mats. Of course, they'll be able to recover that. They still have to rotate out because they're not inside of zone. So is this fight really worth it? Well, I don't think they have a choice. There's been no opportunity to back up. As you mentioned, that box fighting is deadly, and trying to disengage is incredibly difficult. Either way, everybody right now back to square one. It seems like they get a couple of tags, and then before you know it, they're having to back off. Mammoth getting tagged up a little bit. Keys as well up top, but for the most part, it's business as usual. This has been just one long engagement.
Yeah, again, Keys is in this squad's in 9th place, and Commandment squad is in 14th place. So, you know, the opportunity for Keys and Slacks and Illis to keep going, it's right there, but Scented in this squad are being these big obstacles, and they're stopping them right in their tracks, and so much resources and time is being held here. The Keys and Slacks are doing their best, and they're getting aggro so aggressively right now. Now they're down to the ultimate low, and they reset. They're going to do their best to try to take this fight to the ultimate low and hopefully get a tag there. You saw in EMAD, he has no shield. So if they find EMAD who is low, then that's going to open up this engagement for Slacks and his crew.
And EMAD actually is exposed. He's going to be up top. Commandment looks to kind of rotate back, help him out. You see, at least Illis is going to be dropped down just as low as EMAD was. He continues to drop, and he will fall. Commandment picks up a solid elimination there. Keys, though, is going to answer back onto Commandment. Takes him down, gets to full elim. So both teams will lose a player. Illis still up. Keys has the opportunity to pick him up. EMAD and Scented, though, now are going to be in hot pursuit. They want to take down Keys. They want to finish this fight that they have committed so much for. I think Illis is going to be spotted out. He should be finished, but Keys has a decision to make here. Does he stay and fight this? Does he pick up Illis, or does he just disengage altogether?
He's going to have to disengage, Reflections. The Storm is going to push them out. I mean, you're going to see the reboot as well for Scented and EMAD to bring back Commandment. And right now, actually, Keys is putting some big pressure on Scented as back comes Commandment, and EMAD are in shambles in terms of shields. So Keys could 1v3 this and kind of just get this, considering that Commandment, Scented, and EMAD have no kind of shield. So it's up to Keys right now to get the siphon and then come back. But unfortunately, Reflection, he's not going to be able to reboot them because the Storm is going to push them out. So this is all about pride on the line right now, and Keys has to do all his best to keep his squad in right now because they're considering they're a top 10, and Unknown squad is right behind them by 3 points right before this game.
Yeah, luckily, Commandment and Co, they're just going to go ahead and dip out. EMAD's going to be the last one. Keys, no choice but to wait. He doesn't have an ability, though, to get any more white health. So that's going to be hugely, devastating, I think, especially if he starts rotating in, which he's going to have to. He does have the stream that he can use to kind of, elevate his speed. But for the most part, though, he's going to be running straight into Commandment and Co. But even for, Commandment and Scented, they still don't get out with a huge win. Eclipse falls to Macwood. But the point is, that engagement just took so long and so many resources that you have to argue, was it all really worth it?
What a crazy build battle. This may not be worth it for Team X-Set. Nick A30 and Team X-Set's going right at it. You do not want to mess with this Team X-Set right now. They're leading the way with 22 total eliminations, and this is an old classic build battle that we're having. X-Knight and his squad are sitting at height and they have to push down. As down goes Nick at 30, and it's up to his friend Replays to hold it. Replays gets the trade, and down goes Replays, and Team Xset reps the set and continuously adds more eliminations. If they could just put together the placements, they'll be very strong, but it's good to see that they're able to rack up eliminations, and we'll see how successful they can be going forward in Ninja Battles. As you see, Bizzle executing the play right there and getting out 72 hours, and the build-offs are happening. Things are getting loose reflections. A lot of teams are taking fights early game just because they want to right now, considering that they may be out of competing factors for that top 10 prize pool.
And that's what you run into. Game 5 gets a little bit crazy. And honestly, Game 4 gets a little crazy too. We didn't see much of it before, but now Game 5, like you said, teams that are, 11th and down are starting to get desperate. They want to try and Apex. They want to try and get in 10th place. Even if they can't, they're like, hey, we have nothing to lose. Let's just go ahead and engage. Let's throw our hat in the ring. Let's try out some strategies. They know Trios competitive is going to be coming up. So things get a little bit loose, as you mentioned before. It's to be expected, but now this is where, those top trios are really going to have to come out ahead, as Mega gives us a little bit of a dance there. He knows what's going on. He knows the love is coming through. But let me go ahead and bring it back down to reality. Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega, a roster that I wanted to see a lot more of this weekend, and we really didn't. They're not even top 10 going into Game 5, but the opportunity's still there. They can absolutely break top 10. That's at least what I want from them, but only 37 players remain, and typically by this point we're looking at 50, and that just shows how loose everybody's gotten.
Yeah, I got him very loose. I'm expecting to see a very, not as stacked as we've been seeing the chaos and in-game. That's going to spell good news for Stretch, Saf, and Zayt, because they're going to be able to really take height efficiently, and they use the shockwave to their advantage. We've been seeing a lot of trios do some splits as well when they take height, and I'm looking at the zone. It's going to be another northeast zone, or northwest, I'm sorry, another Coral Castle. If you had Coral Castle marked on your bingo chart, go ahead and mark it right now. But this is where Nate Hill and Funk are kind of hanging out here, and this is going to be very interesting because I've never really seen a comped ending in this situation, because it's going to be down in the divot. So not only, I remember in Dusty Divot, you never really wanted to be down below, because the natural high ground was really up high. So that elevation, the elevation for being down into the pit, coming up to the top of that first surface level, is going to be very interesting to navigate if Circle pulls that way. Was also very interesting to see if Reverse, Miro, and Day could hold on to their lead. They're currently sitting 6 points of lead above second place of Bucky, Creo, and Kanata, which we saw making a rotation, which may be this team up in the north, and they're kind of want to gauge what's going on as they're going to go ahead and play for this pad, which is always valuable here. When I mean pad, is that the supply drop has a guaranteed pad, so that's going to be very great. As you see, Cloud and Fernando are right behind as well, and they're kind of recycling builds. So a little bit calmer here in the mid game as people are jockeying for position, as we see a lot of the people get their early game wiggles out their way and get those elims. Now we're going to see the rest of the board who are competing for money, who are a little bit tighter, making sure that they want to get those placement points and get up higher and higher in Ninja Battles Week 3 leaderboard.
I want to go back to your original point. Coral Castle now, how much activity is that going to see? Well, quite a bit, right? I mean, it is central zone. We talk about how important it is to get centralized, and teams are going to have to prioritize that rotation because they're going to have to go across the water, right? They're not going to be able to swim. They're going to have to use builds unless they get incredibly lucky and they're on the cooler side of things. But for the most part, though, that is going to be an interesting fight. There's already a lot of builds over there, so I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out. But this fight here is monumental, right? You have Assault, Innocent, Scope now going full send in onto Macwood and Co., a team that is definitely in the running to do very well. And I'm curious to see who ends out ahead here, because you also have Clicks there. You have Young Count. This was a roster that was incredibly volatile coming in. And I mean volatile given the fact that really, the performance could be everywhere. They could do really well. They could do really bad. We just didn't know, but we knew they had a lot of raw potential. But without question, though, they're in 7th place, 35 points. So this engagement, this fight has the chance to really impact our top 5.
It's so cool to see Scope, Assault, and Innocence kind of form this triangle, and they're picking apart as many builds as possible to try to find a way in, chipping them down, chip damaging their entire situation, making them use all the resources, all the shields as possible. And as soon as they get those white tags, they're going to go ahead and push. But again, you got Clicks, who's the best box fighter to go toe-to-toe. It'll be a very dangerous situation. And the new charged shotgun reflections is one of the most defensive weapons available. So you could kind of get somebody who's being so aggro in your box, as now it's a build-off between Macwood and Scope. What a big fight. Assault is going to come over and try to pinch pincer him right into his guts as Macwood has to go all the way down low. Now they're all converting as Calc is gonna back up Macwood. The battle is happening, unfolding. Assault's gonna take some big hits from clicks from up above. Down he goes. Now it's Innocence on the back foot trying to survive. It's only him and Scope, and Macwood is gonna go ahead and get back up to heals. And down he goes of Innocence, no longer alive, and now it's Scope. And what a turn of events.
Wow.
The reversal, the Aikido judo throw from Clicks Macwood and his crew were able to keep going. But that's what I'm saying. You cannot challenge those guys. They're so good. Everybody's so good. And when you thought it was always done, Clicks was able to survive Macwood and Kyle. What a strong performance right there. And GG, no re to Assault, Scoped, and Innocence.
All I know is you just threw out some crazy language there. Aikido, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever it was. Hey, all I know is if I see you in a dark alley, I'm running the opposite way because clearly you know something I don't.
There was the hold right there. You were looking for that triangle hold right there from Scope, Innocence, and Salt, right? And all of a sudden, Clicks and Macwood and Calc stood up and bop KO'd. And here it is. We're going swimming right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's Coral Castle is going to be the new POI for the season. It's going to be the final showdown here for Ninja Battles. Let's see how much of this POI is going to be a factor because it's so calming and so soothing to see it all unfold here today.
It's calming now, maybe soothing now, but just wait until that zone gets a lot tighter. And then we're going to really see how things are going to heat up. Going back to that Calc Clicks Macwood fight, though, like you said, 7th place, 35 points, getting with that win. Winning that fight absolutely puts them in contention for top 5, maybe even top 3 because they weren't that far behind in points. So a huge win for them. Now on the other end, right, especially down the leaderboards, Booga, Avery, and Chap. They are up. They've got 3 kills to their name. So that's solid, right? 3 eliminations is pretty good given the fact that they have not been performing well, but they're rotating in and they're on the outside.
I just got to point this out. Booga is picking on, I didn't see who was in that boat, but that boat is being attacked by a shark. It's the FaZe boys. Oh, no. There is a shark there attacking
we wanted to see it.
boat. And they're going to need a bigger boat and they're going to survive this bad boy, especially with Booga, Avery, and Chap picking at him. And that's why FaZe, Bizzle, and his crew get off the boat. There he is. Look at him chopping away. And Booga right now and his crew are chopping away at the bit, trying to look for those tags. And oh no, the RPG comes in. That almost quick reaction from Booga right there. But it's FaZe, Bizzle, and Dubs and Mega are in trouble as the shark is just causing some major chaos. So here it is. This is going to be a bad situation for them Reflections.
Oh no, the boat just gets kicked out of the way too. Yeah, sharks, something you don't want to mess around with, whether it be real life or Fortnite. See the effects of that.
No,
and hey, man, you know, the sharks, they've got to be next to Coral, right? I think it's only fair for that. Fernando is going to be pushing through. I'm not even going to attempt to say it like you, man. I can't roll the R's like you do. You do something magical.
Fernando.
There you go. See, now you added too many R's. Now I know you're just getting too crazy. Now you're just flexing, all right? I don't like that.
I know. But they're joining in on this boat battle.
Yeah, no, they're coming. Hey, and you know what? This is bad for, like, you know, the other boys, you know, Bizzle and them. They can't catch a break. Booga's moving in. Yeah. And I like this stuff, but this is what you expect. Like you said, game 5, things are getting crazy, and right now everybody is trying to get their piece of an elimination. They want 1 point. They want to continue to move up the ranks.
Yeah, look, you saw a peek of it. It is, I think the Zypha is up there. I'm not sure, but someone has control of that land on top of that mountain. That is the highest point, and that's where you want to be. For the people in Coral Castle on the right of the map, as you can see over there down at that pit, that's a bad position to be in. They're going to have to find a way to rotate out unless the storm goes over there, but we'll see what happens because all these people who are going to be able, they're going to build right over the pit. So that's why you don't want to be down below. You're going to ultimately find yourself on that ultimate low ground. But as we're going to see, we're about 30 seconds or so getting into the first half in and half out. And that's going to be so interesting to see how it unfolds. And look at the shark. Oh, Rep and Pips, Shark, but Lenny, was it Bruce or something? Did so well.
Bruce. Bruce going big, man. Bruce is vicious. All right, I just want to point that out, by the way. But even more scarier than the shark is the idea that we could be fighting on water. We know how chaotic the fight on water can be, and it looks like we are going to get a little taste of that. Commandment doesn't have many bullets too, so he's not going to be able to just spam through builds with his AR. He only has 8 shots with his hunting rifle, so he's going to be limited into what he is going to be able to engage on and how he's going to be able to apply the pressure. Meanwhile, though, on land, we have yet another fight taking place. The X-Set boys are going to be lower than Riverson and Co. with Nosh and Ziffa, but of course you have Saf, Stretch, and Co. who's going to be down low. This is interesting. Half and half has now populated its up. It's going to be on land. We have a couple of teams there, but I'm worried about that bottom, that southern portion of the safe zone currently. Look at how many teams are congested there, and they're all going to have to run through each other, and it's going to be so awkward going through water, Sancho.
What's interesting, we have the top 5. We have 6th place, 4th place, 3rd place, and 2nd place, and 1st place all on that landmass. They're all there. So this is going to be so we're talking about the top of the board fighting for this piece of land because they know how valuable it is. So
sure.
We're talking about major money on the line. Every elim, every placement costing thousands of dollars. Every RPG costing so much health as well, as Reverse is going to have to shield up as fast as possible, as the rest of the lobby is going to make that rotation, knowing that that team is now focused on getting geared up. As Reverse, Miro, and Day move on foot, you have Slacks, Key, and Illis moving on foot as well. Allowing these teams to refresh. But now on height, you have a second height as Exit. Matt coming in, telling you Reflections, Safe, Sap, and Stretch are behind, waiting for the opportunity to take high ground, and they're going to find it, and to be this opportunity to close out Ninja Battles with a possible 3rd victory royale.
Yeah, and that would be huge. That would absolutely elevate them potentially, at least in conjunction, right, with that of Reverse and Co, who still are on the map. So if I'm Reverse and the rest of, the team, right, I'm thinking to myself, all right, it's just time to kind of chill out. Let's just, let's play for placements. We already know we have a 7-point lead. We don't need to do anything crazy here in order to maintain the first position. But everybody else, though, you already know they're playing crazy. We've been seeing how loose players have been getting, and that is to be expected. But like you talked about that high ground, look who's up there right now. It's Riverson and Co. They're going to be up there now, but look at that next zone. Oh, my Lord. How bad is that going to be for everybody to rotate into? Things are about to get wild. We're at 33 now, but chat, keep your eye on that top left number. It's about to drop down to about 20 or so.
The good news is that there's not any kind of elevation they have to go through. I did see Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day getting focused by Slacks and his crew as they were trying to get in front of the circle. What a great placement right there for Fernando and Team Cloud to get in front of the sword. Here comes Storm Surge. Only one person has to go down, so it's going to be bad. As we do see pick up an elim. Miro picks an elimination on EMAT. He must be big sad. Reverse and his squad are looking very nice right now. It's going to go ahead and go ultimate low, knowing that they're not going to have the ability to hold it right now, and they have to see. But what a big time play from Riverside and diving height. This is going to be a big opportunity for them, Reflections, because they're currently sitting at 6th place.
Yeah, and this is their opportunity to break top 5. Like you said, each placement they move up, that's literally thousands of dollars that they are adding to their prize pool. So right now, their opportunity to go big is there, and they just need to make sure that they don't fall down or make a mistake where they drop down into the pits of the low ground fight. Xset is also going to be going, look, everybody's just going crazy. They're rotating out. Luckily, there's going to be water down there. Reverse gets the opposite effect now, going back into the build. He's now going forward. He's got players all around him. He's just trying to get as safe as possible, and luckily he does. Man, your heart had to be pounding if you were Reverse making that rotation in.
It's intense because no one had. They're gonna have this opportunity to Riverside for able to over to these old with that play, but down goes Dubs as Team Cloud take him out. Now the ultimate they're gonna look at height is Zypha and his crew are sitting at height and at the moment in this crew losses, but now it's up to Riverside to hold on, and it looks like they will have that. All they can as Team Exit is doing their best to try to avoid some of it using the pad. Reverse 2K is right in front of their side. And now our first place takes Team Exit Night. Reverse 2K doing his drive on the low ground, down to his heels. He takes a big time hit.
Oh no!
He goes, but it's okay. Hero Day versus
But you also have Fernando, and I've been looking at that kill feed. Fernando has been clutching up. Granted, he just falls, but he picked up a ton of eliminations, and they were in 3rd place, just down about 10 or so points.
First place goes out.
And Stretch is gone. Stretch is gone as well, too. Fernando falls. X set. AV will go down. And now you got ICV looking to make their way up. Illis will take out Miro. And like you said, first place is gone. But is it enough for the rest of the company? Is it enough for the rest of the leaderboard to move up? Rex will fall, and that's going to be two players. Our X set boys are now gone.
Oh my goodness, this is big because Riverson and his crew, if they get the victory royale and they match up a lot, they opportunity to win Ninja Battle. And all is aligned right now. Bucky, Creo, Kanata, who are sitting any elite as well, but they do not have the high ground. Their positioning is not as great as Riverson squad did so well, fighting together. Board clip to send up into the air. Can pick up any kind of...
Oh, Illist, he's at 1.
Oh my
no! There's not a lot he can do there as he gets dropped by Creo. Last 5 remaining. Riverson up. This is big moment for these boys who have been tearing it up. Riverson's been on high ground, by the way, for the rest of the time. Oh, Bucky! Bucky looking to make a move. He just comes shy of hitting a couple of shots as they battle now up the mountain. Sancho, this moment is so close. Riverson now very low in health. He gets dropped. Creo also falls, and the victory goes to Kanata, Bucky, and Creo as they all 3 stay up. They get 5 points for eliminations, but more importantly, they will now continue to work their way up. My goodness, Sancho, game 5 was wild, but was it enough? Was it enough for Reverse to stay on top? Did Stretch and Co. do enough to maybe take their spot? I don't know. Things are getting close.
I mean, dude, those 3 points could have been so big. Those 3 points they really needed. I mean, yeah, they got the placements for second place. They got the 7 points, but Riverside and Nosh, they couldn't get it. But man, Bucky, Creo, Kanata, they were in second. And that was, I think that may have clutched it. I don't know, man, but some big plays just happened all over the place there in Coral Castle.
Man, this game did not disappoint. All 5 games didn't disappoint, right? We knew we were coming in with trios. It's been a while since we had Ninja Battles before, and I'm so glad that it's back. You know, I gotta say, you know, Bala as well as Monster Face did a great job casting before. It's hard to follow up with them, but you know what? I know Bala was enjoying the action just as much as we were. He was looking, he was saying, you know, spectating was great, and I gotta agree. I think the whole production team did a fantastic job, but for me, man, the players did an even better job. They came through, they told the story, and they told it well. Yes, Reverse has had that lead. We've been talking, you know, kind of harping on him non-stop, right? Reverse with the rest of his teammates. But the point of the matter is, it has still been so close 1 through 5 that it's still anybody's game, right? And that's the biggest storyline that I think to get across to any of the viewers at home is how close the competition has been in 1 through 5.
Yeah, it shows you that you have to continue to show out at the end of the day. You have from... I was so surprised that you see someone like Riverson and his crew from place have an opportunity to contest for first place. His frames, and Typho was going off, he was popping off, he had 4 limbs going. But the Bucky, Creo, Kanata, who were just consistently being around to clutch and close that out, and that made enough to take Reverse 2K and Miro and Day down.
I just wonder if it is. I really do. I mean, you know, let's talk about it once again. Let's recap. $80,000 is what these guys are playing for. $25,000 for first. That's not a small, you know, chump of change. It's not. I know you talk about Bugattis and these players can buy them. Absolutely, but they're not going to turn down a chance to win $25,000. A lot of pressure was on the line. I think for Reverse, this is a special win for him if he's able to take first place and hold on to it with the rest of his boys. But the point is, Reverse, you know, newly free agent, and now he's going to make himself that much more valuable if they held on. Scores are being tallied, and as we wait for those, Sancho, I now pass it back to you. We had a lot of great moments between I think throughout all of these 5 games, but for you, what stood out the most?
I would say what stood out the most was the different kind of circles that and how our players navigated that. I mean, Coral Cal unique way it ended, and we saw how, you know, all the IGLs, the in-game leaders were able to navigate all those places very strongly. And I think what stands out to me is so many people would say, you know, the mythical shotgun and the shockwave, like a huge fan. Sure, later on in the hands of staff and Stretch, they could be a big factor, but you could still win in different ways. And you could see how in competitive trios, how a unit could work together to hold height, you know, have that high endurance. so dominant. We're just seeing some really cool gameplay. How last year World Cup happened, right? And World Cup was supposed to happen around this time. Just to see the level of skill jump from astronomical levels is kind of crazy how the exponential level of competitive gameplay happened. To see as Ninja Battles continues, I mean, who knows? I don't know if it happened next week or so. It happened next week. It'd be interesting to see what squad sticks together, or they mix it up. And that's like about they mix it up, and easy and business will come together. But they wanted to mix it up and see what happens. But I'm happy to see for those people who love competitive Fortnite, first 2K day are a very strong trio squad.
Oh, 100%. Without question. And I hope they do stick together. Like you said, I mean, when it comes to Ninja Battles, whether it be week 1, week 2, we've seen so many different changes. Of course, it's been a little bit of a hiatus that we took between, week 2 now here to week 3, but we still do see those roster changes coming into play. But with trios competitive so close, so around the corner, I do hope some of these rosters, they take something from week number 3 of Ninja Battles and they say, maybe we have something special. Let's stay together. Let's see where this leads us, because a lot of these trios, they have been competing and they have been playing together for some time now. I would say about a month or so, some even longer. And of course, all players all pros go in between each other, and they all have an opportunity to kind of learn each other's styles. So for me, it's been a special day. It really has been a special day. Whoever ends up on top, congratulations to them. But I think for all 18 teams that came out, we learned a lot. We got to see what trios can bring. And for me, I love trios. I think it's one of the best competitive styles that you can have, especially in competitive Fortnite. For me, it just works because if you drop off, you're still in a 2v3. It's much more manageable. In a duo, if you drop off, you're in a 1v2, a lot less manageable. So the point is, I like trios. It's a lot of fun. For me, though, Game 3 stands out. That's where Stretch started coming back with this team. They really started heating up. They won back-to-back. They won Game 3. They won Game 4. But Game 3 was special to me because of that last zone. Remember, the moving zone was by that mountain, and it also was in water a little bit too. It had a little bit of everything that made build fights difficult. It had a little bit of everything that made end zone incredibly challenging. And for Stretch and Co to come through and take over the victory, that speaks volumes about their adaptability, for them to come through and see what's at stake, see what's at hand, and then move forward and capitalize on it to take the victory and start their come up to potentially take over first, or maybe even get top 5. I think they'll be happy with that. So for me, Game 3 really takes the cake. But I think all games had something to take away, especially for the viewers at home. If they're looking and they're taking notes, they're a competitive player, they're aspiring player who maybe wants to play on Ninja Battles in the future, well, the chance is there. Take the chance. That's one thing about Fortnite that I love, Sancho, is that Fortnite has made a lot of lives, made a lot of careers. It's a beautiful game, a beautiful thing, right? And we owe a lot to that to Ninja, right? And that's why I love that he's putting on these events, giving back to the community. That's what it's all about.
Ninja, I mean, I happy belated anniversary and wait for the awards and things of the sort. So, yeah, man, I think Fortnite's in a good place. I mean, that FPS solos has happened. We had so many in the FNCS solos as we see what we have. It all shook out. This is the Game 5 results. Riversun, Zypha, Nosh coming out with 17 points, getting that finish. But again, Bucky, Creo, Kanata using placement, even though they got the victory without getting points. Wow, what a reflection.
What a finish. I mean, you know what? That's big. 17 points to work their way up. That's massive. Of course, Bucky, Creo, Kanata, 15 points. That's big for them. Not only do they get the win for the 10 points, but they get 5 eliminations. They were not playing around. They were positioning themselves properly. And let's not forget, they were in second place going into the final game. They were 6 points behind that of Reverse 2K. But the point is, they were within striking distance. And I think they might have got enough points to maybe overtake the boys of Reverse. As we look at the rest of the company, though, hey, it was still great to watch a lot of these guys play, whether it be Nick A30, whether it be Nate Hill and co, right? Whether it be Unknown Army, Benji Fish, CRR. I think they had plenty of great moments, even though they don't finish where they wanted to. I love the fact that they still came out, they competed, they played, and they showed us some good Fortnite action.
Now we're going to get to the action and see, I like how we do the battles, reverse order, we're going to see how it works out. Finishing in 18th place, Nate Hill, 72 Hours in Funk. Unable to find their footing, no doubt, but hey, they did really well in week 2 in the Ninja Battle. So I'm expecting them to come full force. Shouts again to Nick A30, as you mentioned, coming back and doing really well, getting the 10 points. I'm sure they're going to have to find some footing going forward and see who he picks up in as him being the captain. 15 plays to Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega having some issues coming out of Fortilla there and there. Booga, Chap, and Avery was my surprise, but hey, they have the ability to pop off. 16 points, nothing to shy away from Reflections. They have the ability to pop off.
Yep.
Emad, Commandment, and Scented, they started off a little bit hot, and he almost tried to get hot at the right time. But what a big surprise for me was Unknown, Benji, and CRR. It was fun to see them slay out. I think they were kind of playing like a days, no worry in the world in the opening match, but as soon as things kind of unfolded, but here we go. Reflections. Who is
Sancho,
the winner today in week 3?
The anticipation is killing me. We got to pull it up. Who ended up taking first place? Did Reverse hold on? He did it for 4 games. Was he able to do it here? He was not. He was not. They end up falling down to third. And that's what I said. Sometimes the guys below are just as hungry as the ones at the top. And Bucky, Creo, and Kanata, 55 points, edging out Riverson, Azifa, and Nosh by just 1 point. Matter of fact, it was just 2 points that separated first and third. What an amazing performance that last game, getting the victory royale, getting the 5 points for the eliminations, made all the difference in the world. And ladies and gentlemen, they will now be your week 3 Ninja Battles champions.
Hey man, the roster and Bucky, Creo, and Kanata were going back together again. Oh, you had to watch out, and they were able to capitalize and show out here today. Yesterday may have been some rainy clouds and storms for the boys, but today it's all sunshine. Woo! Good job there, boys.
Ooh, man, it's got to feel good. Coming into it, we were talking about them, how powerful they were. Granted, first couple of games, not the strongest. We were like, all right, we need to see a little bit more, but they definitely started heating up around game number 2 on forth. They were absolutely the team to take it. Their positioning was great, Sancho. We talked about them consistently having the high ground where they needed it. They were able to just pepper shots down low. They did everything right. They made it happen. And it just comes to show you that even if you don't have, or even if you do have the lead, consistently throughout, right? Game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4. That game 5 can absolutely shift and turn the tides of really the song that's being played. And we see the effects of that. At the end, Kanata and Co. are able to come through big, and congratulations to them with Creo and Bucky, of course. I mean, it's just 3 solid rosters. We knew they were a powerhouse team coming in, and I'm glad that they do get that victory. But let's not forget, though, I mean, Kanata's been up there, too. Right? Kanata's had success on various different rosters. I do believe he got 7th place. He also got 3rd place before, too. So it feels good for him, right, to finally apex and get 1st place. $25,000. I mean, Sancho, come on. How do you even spend $25,000?
I don't know, but I mean, I think they figured out their synergy. I mean, Creo, Kanata, and Bucky. You have, Creo being that in-game leader. You have Kanata, who himself is so intelligent in rotations. He's always smart about how he moves. He's like a great support player. And then you have someone as a fragger like Bucky, who is just so mechanically sound. I mean, the story of Bucky coming out of World Cup, where his dad was helping him out, being on the call, being his coach, making it to World Cup. His ride up to success, no doubt, built by gamers. Is so happy to have him a part of their squad. But I'm telling you, when I watch Bucky, Kanata, and Creo play together, they do so well on the low ground. They do so well communicating together. So that is why they're walking away with the lion's share of 80,000, 25,000 in the bank. But I mean, that is a dangerous squad. And like I said, when I saw the rosters being put out in the Discord, I knew that would be a team to look out for, considering that they had the synergy and the consistency to show out, and they're doing it today. And it'd be interesting to see if they come back together as a team in Ninja Battles Week 4.
Absolutely would be. Some other rosters as well. Like I said, I've been harping on was my favorite team coming into it. All FaZe boys. It was Bizzle, Dubs, Mega. I wanted to see them, come through a lot stronger than they did, and I hope they do in future weeks. We know Bizzle was the champion in week 2, was not the champion here in week 3, but we might see him come up ahead once again in week 4, Sancho.
One thing I have to point out, though, is that what's being true in Ninja Battles is that everything's close. Like game 5,
that's true. That is true.
It's close. Like no doubt in my mind. And that was really exciting. There's not really like this major pop-off games that we've been seeing in other kind of third-party competitions. When the trios, for some reason, it just always comes down to the wire. And we're seeing so many teams perform so well. And that's what I like about it. And I've been seeing the Twitter feed. A lot of our competitors like Ninja Battles as well. So it'd be interesting to hear from whoever we try to set up this interview with, it'd be interesting to hear why they like Ninja Battles themselves, because I just think because having the smaller lobby enables the skill set to show out, and you don't have to worry about this extreme third party. We saw a lot of like really solid 1v1s heading into third and fourth circle of outside the zones, and we didn't see like a teams. We did see a couple moments where teams were spraying and focusing on one person that was in shambles, but I'm talking about what's normally a factor where the entire lobby is spraying down on someone or gatekeeping somebody. We saw some really cool finesse plays, and we saw some very smart in-game leadership, you know, from Eclipse himself as well, just sitting there holding walls and things of that sort. We saw it'd be interesting to see if Edgy himself, how he was able to impact Nick 30 and replays. But yeah, man, I shouts to Bucky, Creo, and Kanata.
Well, hey, speaking of Bucky, we're actually going to send it to an interview. Let's talk to Bucky. See, first and foremost, how he's going to spend the $25,000 that he was able to earn. That, of course, he will split. But it's going to be good to hear from Bucky, the winners of week number 3. So let's go ahead and get into that interview. Let's talk to him, pick his brain a little bit, if you will, and just overall hear what he's got to say. I don't know if he can hear us right now. I don't think, Bucky, are you here?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. What's up?
Yo, what's going on, Bucky? How you doing, man? Fresh victory, week 3, coming into it. That's big. First and foremost, what does this victory mean for you?
It means a lot, since like me and my trio had like a big argument yesterday. So like to come back today and like actually like win it is like actually huge for me, because like my mental like was really down yesterday, but like winning today like meant so much, you know, for me and my teammates.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, I was like, when I picked you guys to pick to win yesterday when we were getting ready, I heard the rumbles on Twitter. You guys were having this argument, but I was like, nah, man, they'll figure it out. And what was it that going into like today's Ninja Battles help you set your victory for today?
Honestly, we just had like I think everyone just like reset our mental today, and we all just like just came in with like a positive mindset and just tried our best. And like we just completely forgot about yesterday. And just looked forward and like want to just focus on the win today. And like everyone, like nobody really holds grudges, so like everything just worked out really well. Like we just had some good games going. Like after game 2, we had really good games and stuff.
So coming into the last game, game number 5, right? You guys were in second place. You were 6 points down from reverse. I assume you know that. Maybe you didn't. But if let's say you did know it going into it, what was your mentality like? What was your mindset, right? Because obviously eliminations, they do carry pretty hard with, 1 point each. Obviously you pick a lot of those up towards the end, especially when everything is chaotic and you're catching people off of rotation, off of positioning. But coming into the last game, 6 points down after Reverse and Co had been so consistent. What was the game plan for your squad?
The game plan was like, it was centered around like, we knew that's
hey, what's up, man? What's up, Creo?
We knew like
he's happy.
Since it was 20 teams in the lobby, we knew that like in endgame, like it was going to be a lot harder to like frag out like than usually. Like usually you're able to get like a lot of kills in endgame, but we knew we weren't going to be able to, so we kind of like hard focused on the win. So we just played for placement, and then we knew like eliminations would come like as we got further into the match.
Okay, one of the things I've noticed from watching your gameplay is, man, you guys have your roles down pat. And I just think that as you being the fragger or something, you're so mechanically sound. I mean, talk about your story, man. Coming from World Cup with the help of your dad being on comms, helping you go through all that, having the struggle, and now you're coming back in full force with this trio. I mean, how excited are you going forward into FNCS?
Oh, I'm super excited and like really confident for FNCS. Like, since me and Creo, we had like our roles like really down, and then Kanata coming in is like one of like the best solo players in the game. Like everything like just worked out really well because me and Creo had like 2 like very dominant roles, and like we played very well together. And then Kanata like fit in like the 3rd role like so well that like our roles just like worked perfectly together.
So is it fair to say this is going to be the roster then that you guys might be competing with moving forward? Is this the set roster? Do you guys feel good about it?
Yeah. Well, this is like this. I don't change teammates. Like I don't like changing teammates. Like I'm playing with Creo for like the rest of Fortnite. And Kanata is like for trios, we're always gonna play Kanata, and for squads too. It's gonna be like us 3.
Okay, fair enough. I did have a question though, before obviously Sancho closes it out. when we talk about competitive game modes, right? You have solo, you have duos, you have squads. I think trios is amazing. I love trios. I think it's one of the best competitive game modes out there. But I'm curious to hear it from you, obviously being one of the top level competitors. Trios for you, what does it mean as opposed to squads, solos, duos? Do you think it is the competitive game mode that should be played?
You guys win? Nice. Is Buck doing an interview?
Whoa, Zach, chill. Zach. Whoa, don't say anything, bro. Oh, sorry, that's extra.
Yo.
Anyways, wait, what was the question? I forgot already.
What do you think about trios? Trios as opposed to duos, solos. What do you think trios is the wave?
Yeah, no, I think trios is the best game mode. Like how it works with like IGLing and like you have a fragger support or 2 fraggers. Like I think trios is the best. Like I think trios is the best game mode, followed behind duos. Like I think trios just works the well. It works best for like just everything.
And no doubt, I think you're going to be someone to watch out for. You, Kanata, Creo, are someone I think are just such a strong way. And if anyone out there wants to know why, just check out their YouTube channels. I mean, Bucky has been releasing so many things, and no doubt this will be an upload soon. But check out Bucky. Bucky, do you have anything to say for your fans out there and around the world? This is your time. This is your floor. What you got for us?
Oh, like I appreciate all the support that like everyone has given to like the trio, and like when we had the argument yesterday, like everyone was like super positive and like wanted us to figure it out, and like I just appreciate everyone like being positive in like the community and stuff like that, you know.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Twitch, Ninja.
Oh, hey, okay. Hey, this is an interesting interview. I'm not gonna lie, I love the fact that you guys are all in the same house, just having a good time. That's what it's all about, and it makes kind of the pro career that much more entertaining. Man, I'm happy for you. I really am. That was a good comeback, taking over first place position, $25,000, and I hope you guys come back for the next week.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for hosting as well. This was like an amazing tournament. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Sancho, I'm not going to lie. It's been a phenomenal tournament. It really has. The fact that Ninja puts this on, now 3 weeks, we've seen a lot of money been given away, but we've seen a lot of action that has developed. And I think for this week, it was special. Like you said, Trios competitive now, just right around the corner, having an opportunity to not only hear, from Bucky himself, obviously, the victors now coming into it, but, I'm very curious to see how Trios is going to be pushing forward. So many great moments, Sancho. But you know what? It has to come to an end eventually, and it looks like our time is up.
I mean, thank you so much for everybody for having me. Again, working from home, sometimes things don't work out. I'm not sure what happened, but I had a great time. I think Ops had a phenomenal time, and Reflections has been a pleasure working with you. You could find me on twitch.tv/SanchoWest or on Twitter, Instagram, all those things. It doesn't matter. We're here for you guys. Thank you so much for everyone watching on YouTube and on Twitch, wherever you are. And if you're watching the VOD, study up and see why Bucky and Creo Kanata are some of the most dominant trio squads out there today.
Hey, it's been another week. Week 3 Ninja Battles has concluded. It was another great week, and we hope we have many more to come. If you're watching on any of Ninja's platform, make sure you hit that follow button so you can keep up with his streams and other future broadcasts that will be taking place. For Ninja, as well as production, myself, Taylor Reflections Noble, and Sancho West, we enjoyed having you, and we hope to see you guys again on the next one.